Chapter 558. After the third stage, the alchemy sovereign's injuries were not light, and he still needed to stabilize his alchemy realm. Ning Fan was also affected by the explosion in the third stage, and suffered quite a severe injury. He could only give up on the fourth stage. Even though the Rain Sovereign still had some doubts, he did not have the mood to investigate Ning Fan's background for the time being. The Rain Emperor's mind was completely focused on helping the Alchemy Emperor recover from his injuries, and the reason for this was self-evident. Even the entire Rain Immortal world became excited because of Pill Emperor. The Pill Sovereign was the only pill refinement master in the Rain Immortal world who had broken through the seventh revolution. With him around, the improvement of the Void Fragmentation Realm's cultivation base in the Rain world was just around the corner. The title of being the weakest in the 9 worlds could finally be removed one day. This made many old monsters of the Rain world very excited. Ning Fan was also recuperating in the Scarlet Heaven Palace. It had already been a month. That day he did not attempt the fourth stage, which unwittingly prevented him from crossing swords with Yunqinga. Although Yunqinga's hostility towards Ning Fan had gradually dissipated over the past month, apart from healing his injuries, he had also started to reflect on the danger he encountered in the third stage. Ning Fan had to admit that he had somewhat underestimated the heavenly tribulation and the heavenly Tao of the mortal world after subduing the puppets of the heavenly tribulation twice in a row. The mysterious lady who appeared in the heavenly Tao ring was too powerful. It made Ning Fan's blood run cold. It was absolutely not his wish to be targeted by such an expert. Fortunately, the lady didn't have any intention to target him. It could be considered as a blessing in misfortune. The destructive power of the Yin-Wind tribulation at the fourth heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm was indeed a little terrifying. It made Ning Fan, who had always looked down on the power of heavenly tribulations face to face for the first time. The Yin-Wind tribulation of the fourth heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm nearly turned the Pill Sovereign into ashes. Ning Fan rubbed his forehead and felt a headache. The Yin-Wind tribulation was indeed not easy to deal with. The destructive power of his Void Inquiry stage heavenly tribulation was already equivalent to the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm. Luckily, it was a lightning tribulation and he managed to overcome it. The heavenly tribulation of the Void Pierce stage is certainly stronger than the heavenly tribulation of the Void Inquiry stage. At the very least, it has the destructive power of the second heavenly tribulation of the Void Fragmentation realm. The heavenly axiom had already sent fire and thunder tribulations, so it would not send these tribulations again. Who knew what the next heavenly tribulation would be? If it was the Yin-Wind tribulation, it would be very bad. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the puppet fragments that were scattered all over the ground. Although he did not regret destroying his 2 sons, he still felt a little heartache. Now that the puppet had been broken into these pieces, could it still be repaired? Even if Ning Fan had countless immortal jades, he still felt that it was impossible to repair it. If it was an ordinary puppet that was damaged to this extent, it naturally couldn't be repaired. However, these 2 puppets had ancient symbols on their bodies, possessing a bit of tribulation power. They were heavenly tribulation emissaries. Their status is special. Even though the 2 heavenly tribulation puppets had been smashed into pieces, the fragments still retain some spirituality. If it's in the 4 heavens, there might be a puppet master who can repair these puppets. If it's in the lower world, hee my good brother, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to repair these 2 puppets. Luo Yu pursed her lips and giggled in the profound Yin world. Is it difficult to repair? Ning Fan sighed. Whether it could be repaired or not was a matter of luck. A month had passed, and he had fully recovered from his injuries. Over the past few days he had been receiving messages from the Pill Emperor, Yun Bushu, Yu Chong-er and the others. The Pill Sovereign's injuries had already stabilized, and there were no longer any major problems. This made Ning Fan feel slightly relieved. He had given Ning Fan a large number of healing pills. That was the reason why Ning Fan's injuries could heal so quickly. Most of the messages that Yu Chong-er sent to Ning Fan were filled with concern and affection. Ning Fan shook his head and chuckled. However, his heart also felt a little warm. Yun Bushu told Ning Fan about the recent movements in the Rain world. Even though Ning Fan never left his house, He knew everything that was happening in the world. Yin Tianjue was still searching for the whereabouts of the broken swords of the four heaven-suppressing swords. He had yet to return to the middle state. The Rain Sovereign temporarily dispelled his suspicions towards Ningfan and placed all his attention on the Pill Sovereign. However, according to Yun Bushu, the Rain Sovereign would assign a mission to Ningfan in the next few days. It was related to the inextinguishable fire body days past. Ningfan's injuries were fully healed. Then he began to deal with the spoils of war in the four trials of heaven and earth. He naturally needed to find an opportunity to go to the ruling Sky City to spend the 30 billion merit points. He should be able to exchange them for a lot of things. The rain intent of the Rain Ancestors' blood rain was vast. With Ningfan's current level of rain intent, he was still unable to refine this rain. He could only do so in the future. As for the Tao fruit of the frozen rogue immortal, Ningfan did not dare to consume it for the time being. Once he consumes and refines it, his magic power of 2 million units would immediately make him face the Void Pierce stage. However, after witnessing the scariness of the Yin Wind tribulation, Ningfan knew that he was far from being ready to face the tribulation. Thus he could not consume the Tao fruit for the time being. After breaking through the third trial, the profound trial, Ningfan obtained a low-grade 7th Revolution Flying Dragon pill. This pill was concocted using the soul of a void fragmentation realm flying dragon. It could improve the medicine soul realm of a 6th Revolution pill master. After consuming this pill, Ningfan's medicine soul realm, which was originally at the mid-grade 6th Revolution, improved significantly. He was already not far away from breaking through to the high-grade 6th Revolution. He was just one step away from breaking through to the high-grade 6th Revolution. Ningfan dealt with many items. The only thing he did not know how to deal with was the item that he traded with Chu Chang. It was a heart that flowed with silver blood. The previous owner of this heart was at least a life immortal realm expert. Moreover, he was proficient in the Tao of Lightning. However, judging from the age of the heart, the Lightning Immortal had passed away at least tens of millions of years ago. After this person died, the lightning power in the heart did not disperse. Instead, it continued to provide a vast amount of magic power to make the heart beat. This really shocked Ningfan. When immortals transcend life and death, even their flesh and blood would become extremely mysterious. Or could it be that there were other mysteries behind it? The first reason why Ningfan was willing to exchange this heart with Chu Chang was naturally because of the vast lightning power within it. The lightning power within it was extremely pure. It was countless times purer than the undead spirit primordial lightning in the lightning tower. If he absorbs the lightning power within it, perhaps his primordial lightning armor would become even stronger. The Blood Dragon Demon Sword was only useful to the Blood Dragon clan. This lightning immortal's heart, on the other hand, was infinitely useful to any lightning cultivator. From this point of view, it was not a loss for him to exchange the demon sword for the lightning heart. However, there was actually a second reason why Ningfan agreed to exchange the heart. Chu Chang might not necessarily understand the second reason. Ningfan held the beating heart in his hand and studied it carefully. On the surface of the heart, there was a mysterious silver aperture. That aperture was like the mouth of a spring. Traces of lightning power were constantly flowing out from it. From Ningfan's point of view, the reason why this lightning immortal's heart could provide an endless supply of lightning power and make it beat was because this heart aperture was constantly overflowing with lightning power. What kind of aperture is this? It can actually still produce lightning power endlessly even after its owner has passed away for tens of millions of years. That aperture was opened very crudely. It seemed like this lightning immortal did not know the true method of opening the aperture in his heart. Due to the crudely opened heart aperture, the amount of lightning power produced was very limited and almost negligible. However, after accumulating it for tens of millions of years, the lightning power contained in this small heart had become really terrifying. This is the heart aperture technique of the Four Heavens Divine Clan. Luo Yu suddenly exclaimed. Heart aperture technique? Yes, it's a secret technique of the Four Heavens Divine Clan. It's said that this technique was created by imitating the heart of an ancient god in order to make up for the lost heart of the ancient god. This technique is very powerful. If one can open a heart aperture in one's heart, the heart aperture will continuously produce magic power on its own and increase the cultivation speed of the cultivator. However, the cultivation of this technique is very difficult and cruel. Every time one carves out a heart aperture, one needs to refine it for 1,000 years and endure the pain of having one's heart gouged out for 1,000 years. Moreover, one can't use magic power arbitrarily for 1,000 years. Heart aperture. What exactly is the heart of an ancient god? Do you know a thing or two about it with your previous identity? My previous identity? In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu seemed to have thought of the past. Her eyes darkened. After a while, the frown on her face disappeared and she shook her head. I don't know. Even in the past, my understanding of the heart of an ancient god was limited to one sentence. The heart with 3 apertures can transform into the heart origin. The heart with 7 apertures can establish a heart realm. I don't know the profound meaning behind this sentence. I'm just guessing that the divine abilities of the ancient god clan are probably related to the heart aperture. That's why there are people who imitate the divine heart and open the heart aperture. In the past, I had secretly learned the heart aperture technique and opened up 7 heart apertures in my heart. However, I didn't understand anything about the heart origin or the heart realm. However, the speed of my magic power cultivation has increased by more than 2 times. Luo Yu's temperament was extremely stable. Previously, she was only slightly absent-minded when she recalled the past. Now that she had recovered her mental state, she naturally returned to her charming and enchanting personality. After listening to Luo Yu's words, Ning Fan felt pity for her and did not know how to comfort her. Ning Fan had no idea about her past at all. He didn't know what kind of blood feud she had to bear to search for the yin-yang locket and choose the dirty yin-yang transformation to cultivate. She had carved out 7 heart apertures in her heart. Therefore, she must have endured the pain of having her heart gouged out for 7,000 years. How many people in this world could endure the pain of having their heart gouged out for 7,000 years? Ning Fan sighed. He vaguely understood Luo Yu better now. From a certain point of view, Luo Yu was very similar to him. My good brother, if you want to cultivate the heart aperture technique, I can teach you. However, I believe that you can endure the pain of having your heart gouged out for 1,000 years. However, I also believe that you don't have the time to cultivate this technique. Therefore, I think I won't teach you this technique. I really don't have the time to cultivate this technique for 1,000 years. Ning Fan stopped talking about the matter of the heart aperture to prevent Luo Yu from recalling her sad memories. He studied the lightning immortal's heart for a long time. Eventually, he decided to refine it into his body. With the help of several spiritual herbs, Ning Fan swallowed the lightning immortal's heart and summoned his primordial lightning armor to slowly refine it. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. On the 4th day, the grade of the primordial lightning armor continued to improve. It was just 1 step away from breaking through to the 4th level of the golden grade. Ning Fan did not say much. He consumed a bottle of 6th revolution pills which contained lightning power, and continued to refine the lightning immortal's heart. On the 7th day, his primordial lightning armor broke through to the 4th level of the golden grade. It was now strong enough to defend against an absolute void stage attack. The remaining power of the lightning immortal's heart still went into the lightning armor. On the 9th day, the power of the lightning immortal's heart was on the verge of exhaustion. On the 11th day, he completely refined the lightning immortal's heart. His primordial lightning armor broke through to the peak of the golden grade. The current primordial lightning armor could even defend against a single attack from a grand void stage expert. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi. Before he could adjust his breathing, he suddenly received a golden message transmitting flying sword. It was from the Rain Sovereign. It was actually a secret order. It was a secret order for Ning Fan to keep a low profile and head to the tree world alone. Chapter 559. In the Scarlet Heaven territory, Ning Fan sat alone at the belly of the Cloud Mountain and remained silent for a long time. He had never thought that the Rain Emperor would give him such a mission. In this message transmission jade slip, The Rain Sovereign roughly explained the reason why he wanted to borrow Ning Fan's inextinguishable flame body. The immortal burning valley of the Western Flame Country was the former site of the Shedding Orchid sect. In the deepest part of the immortal burning valley, there was a forbidden area with interweaving immortal flames. It was called the Fallen Abyss. Even void fragmentation realm fire cultivators could not enter that place. The Rain Emperor had once explored the Fallen Abyss and had made several attempts. However, he was unable to enter this place. However, he could sense a terrifyingly rich medicinal aura emanating from this forbidden land. According to the Rain Emperor's investigation, there was an 8-revolution alchemical pill sealed in the Fallen Abyss, and this 8-revolution alchemical pill was the sect-guarding pill of the Shedding Orchid sect. Low-grade 8-revolution pill, emergence pill. Any void fragmentation realm cultivator who consumes it has a very small chance of directly ascending to immortality. If a peak void fragmentation realm cultivator were to consume it, he would have at least a 30% chance of directly ascending to become an immortal. The Rain Sovereign was a cultivator at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. If he consumed the emergence pill, the probability of him directly becoming an immortal was not high. However, even if he failed, he could at least advance to the void fragmentation realm by 1 heavenly layer. Moreover, the emergence pill would lay an immortal foundation in the Rain Sovereign's body. In the future, if the Rain Sovereign cultivated to the peak stage of the void fragmentation realm, his chances of ascending to immortality would still be 30% higher than ordinary cultivators. The reason why the Rain Emperor had painstakingly schemed to enter the Fallen Abyss was precisely for that 8 revolutions emergence pill. This matter was very secretive. Even the princes didn't know what was sealed in the Fallen Abyss. The Rain Sovereign did not reveal anything about the emergence pill to anyone. If the news about the emergence pill were to be leaked, all the void fragmentation realm experts in the 9 worlds would probably be in an uproar and come up with ways to snatch the emergence pill. It was especially so for some rogue immortals who were stuck at the void fragmentation realm and were unable to ascend. For the sake of this emergence pill, perhaps they would even massacre the entire Rain world. The Rain Sovereign had only told Ning Fan about the emergence pill. It couldn't be helped. If he didn't tell Ning Fan about this, Ning Fan wouldn't be able to help him complete the mission. The emergence pill is of great importance. You must not leak any information about it. The immortal fire of the Fallen Abyss is very powerful, and there are still 3 years before the tide of the Sea of Fire is at its weakest. 3 years later, it will be the best time for you to enter the immortal burning valley. Before that, I want you to secretly go to the Tree World. In the Fire Tree clan of the Tree World, there is a divine spring called the Zhurong Spring. It is unsealed once every 100 years. If a void refinement realm cultivator were to soak in this spring, not only would he be able to increase his cultivation base, but he would also be able to increase his physical body's defense against fire. In another year, the Fire Tree clan will unseal the Zhurong Spring and open up a certain number of slots for cultivators to enter it to cultivate. I hope that you can go to the Fire Tree clan and fight for a slot to enter the Zhurong Spring to cultivate for a while. This will increase your chances of obtaining the emergence pill. After the order was delivered, the golden sword transmitting flying sword immediately turned into dust and dissipated. He did not expect that the Rain Sovereign would ask him to go to the Tree World. After the flying sword finished delivering the message, the Lord of the Rain God Palace, Han Songzi, personally visited Ning Fan and handed him a golden storage pouch. It was a reward from the Rain Sovereign. Apart from 10 billion immortal jade, there were also 5 void refinement realm Dao fruits, 10 bottles of 6th revolution pills, 3 low-grade 7th revolution pills, 5 peak mortal void realm magic treasures and 2 golden jade slips. The jade slips contained a terrifying magic technique called the Rain Gate technique. It was left behind by a peak void fragmentation realm divine sovereign of the Rain Palace. It could be used to open the Rain Gate and directly descend to the other 9 worlds. After reaching the Rain Sovereign's cultivation base, he would more or less have some secret techniques that allowed him to descend to the other worlds secretly. However, he would usually not use them. Even if he uses them, he would do it secretly. It was an extremely arrogant act to descend to the Rain world openly like Moksha Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign only had 4 of these jade slips. After giving Ningfan 2 of them, he only had 2 left. One of the techniques recorded in the 2 jade slips was located in the tree world, while the other one was located in the middle state of the rain world. If Ningfan activates the jade slip to locate the tree world, he could open up a world tunnel and secretly sneak into the tree world. After completing the mission, he could activate the other jade slip and sneak back to the rain world, this time. In order to let Ningfan go to the Fire Tree clan to increase his fire resistance, the Rain Sovereign had already gone all out. He even gave Ningfan 2 of the Rain Gate jade slips. The Rain Sovereign was not afraid that Ningfan would betray him. In his opinion, Ningfan was a smart man. All of his relatives and friends were in the rain world. It was impossible for him to flee to the tree world alone and never return. After keeping the Rain Sovereign's reward, Ningfan pondered for a while. Currently, he had yet to break off his relationship with the Rain Sovereign. If the Rain Sovereign wants him to go to the tree world, he would be willing to go. Ningfan had heard of the Zhurong Spring of the Fire Tree clan in the tree world before. It was said that a Void Glimpse stage cultivator had once cultivated in it. When he left 3 years later, he directly broke through to the Void Inquiry stage. That Zhurong Spring could greatly increase one's cultivation base. It could also increase a cultivator's resistance to fire. Ningfan did not have any objection about going to the Zhurong Spring to cultivate. The best time to enter the Fallen Abyss is 3 years later. In other words, I can only stay in the tree world for 3 years at most. 3 years is enough for me to go to the Fire Tree clan and enter the Zhurong Spring to cultivate. I can't afford to make any mistakes in the trip to the tree world. I need to make thorough preparations before I go. To me, going to the tree world is also an opportunity. With my current magic power and cultivation base, I might be able to break through to the Void Pierce stage after I enter the tree world. UE needs to improve its grade. It's better to break through to the first grade as soon as possible. If I can improve it to the first grade, I will most likely be able to find my mother in one go with the Rain Ancestors technique. Yin Tianjua has yet to return. I'm afraid I can't return this blood wine gourd to him for the time being. He's my father, but I don't know how to face him. Ningfan let out a sigh. With a flash, he directly left the Cloud Mountain and flew towards the ruling Sky City. After sweeping through the 8 palaces and passing through the 3 trials, Ningfan's name had already spread across the rain world. Ningfan flew at full speed. As soon as the cultivators he met saw him, they would immediately stop on the clouds in awe and salute him respectfully. The Palace Lord of the Scarlet Heaven Palace, Marquis White Robe, the strongest devil in the rain world, and a mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. With these halos on Ningfan, no one dared to underestimate him at all. The reason why he rushed all the way to the ruling Sky City was to exchange for 30 billion merit points. The Rain Sovereign had given him a mission which was beneficial to him. Thus, he decided to go to the tree world and complete it. Before he leaves, he naturally needed to make thorough preparations. He directly flew to the center of the ruling Sky City. Han Songzi seemed to know that Ningfan would come. He had already received the Rain Sovereign's order, and received him respectfully. This old man greets Marquis White Robe. May I know if Marquis White Robe has come to the ruling Sky City to exchange for merit points? That's right. If that's the case, please follow me to the Merit Tower of the ruling Sky City. The Merit Tower of the ruling Sky City had a total of 6 floors. The first 4 floors were open to Void Glimpse stage, Void Inquiry stage, Void Pierce stage and Absolute Void stage cultivators respectively. The 5th floor of the Merit Tower was only open to 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters, and Old Monsters at the Origin Returning stage and Absolute Void stage. The 6th floor of the Merit Tower was only open to Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators like the Rain Sovereign to exchange for items with their merit points. Han Songzi had already received the Rain Sovereign's secret order. If Ningfan needs it, he could allow him to enter the 6th floor. This made Han Songzi inexplicably shocked. He could not imagine that Ningfan's importance in the Rain Sovereign's heart was actually comparable to the Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the Rain world. Therefore, he treated Ningfan with even more respect. He did not dare to show any neglect at all. Ningfan followed Han Songzi all the way to the Merit Tower. It was a silver-colored pagoda. There were layers of formation seals outside the pagoda. There was also a giant tortoise stone statue and 2 rain lion stone statues. Inside the giant tortoise stone statue was the soul of a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm turtle demon. It was none other than the turtle demon who was guarding the ruling sky city. The 2 rain lion stone statues were rooted in the Merit Tower and could not be moved. Each of the rain lion stone statues emitted the aura force of the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The 2 rain lion stone statues could not move. However, if anyone tries to steal the treasures in the Merit Hall, they would immediately launch an attack comparable to a void fragmentation realm expert to kill the intruder. With the turtle demon and the 2 rain lion stone statues guarding the place and many restrictive spells densely covering it, the defense of the Merit Tower could not be said to be weak. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He only glanced at the tortoise and lion stone statues without saying anything. He also did not have the intention to steal the treasures. He was not arrogant enough to steal things under the Rain Sovereign's nose. He believed that the Rain Sovereign, who was overly suspicious, must be secretly watching him at this moment. The Rain Sovereign has given an order. If Marquis Whiterobe wants to enter the Merit Tower, there is no limit to the number of floors. May I know which floor Marquis Whiterobe wants to enter? Han Songzi asked respectfully. Which floor is the Divine E Stone on? Ning Fan suddenly asked. The first floor. With Marquis Whiterobe's cultivation base, don't tell me he still needs to exchange for the Divine E Stone? Han Songzi asked in surprise. To nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm cultivators, the Divine E Stone was a supreme treasure. It could help them comprehend and improve their divine intent. However, to void refinement realm cultivators, the effect of the Divine E Stone in improving their divine intent was greatly reduced. Usually, very few void refinement realm cultivators would come to the ruling sky city to exchange for the Divine E Stone. That was why he felt very strange. Why did Ning Fan ask about the Divine E Stone that was not worth mentioning first instead of asking about the many treasures in the Merit Hall? I naturally have my own use for this item. Fellow Taoist, please lead the way. I want to exchange all of the Divine E Stones in this Merit Tower. Seeing that Ning Fan did not want to talk much, Han Songzi was sensible and naturally did not ask any more questions. He led Ning Fan to the first floor of the Merit Tower. The pills, cultivation methods, magic treasures and spiritual items on this floor were enough to make Void Glimpse stage-old monsters feel tempted. However, Ning Fan did not linger around most of the items. He just exchanged all the Divine E Stones and went to the second floor. Exchanging for a Divine E Stone required 5 million merit points. The price was the same as the nascent Soul Realm Dao Fruit. There were a total of 1,000 plus Divine E Stones in the Merit Tower. Ning Fan had spent 5 billion merit points to exchange for all of them. These Divine E Stones were already the entire inventory of the Rain Palace. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. I wonder if absorbing the power of these Divine E Stones will allow my 5th grade Rain intent to break through to the 4th grade. There was still a long way to go before it could attain the 1st grade Rain intent. If I go to the tree world, I must pay attention to find a way to increase my Rain intent. All the treasures on the second floor of the Merit Tower were prepared for Void Inquiry stage cultivators. Ning Fan's current cultivation base was coincidentally at the Void Inquiry stage. Thus, there were quite a number of items that could be of use to him in this floor. Ning Fan had exchanged quite a lot of pill recipes, pills and 50,000 years old spiritual herbs. After spending 2 billion merit points, his progress kept going upwards. On the third floor, Ning Fan spent 2.5 billion merit points to exchange for pill recipes, pills and spiritual herbs. On the fourth floor, Ning Fan spent 3.5 billion merit points. The fifth floor of the Merit Tower was a floor that only 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters and returning Origin Great Void Stage cultivators could enter. There were quite a number of good items on this floor. There were even more than 10 types of Origin returning magic arts. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the floor. Among these Origin returning magic arts, there were Divine Arts, Devil Arts, Demon Arts and even the Origin returning magic art left behind by the Rain Ancestor. Due to some lucky encounters, the Rain Ancestor possessed the power of the 3 races at the same time. His origin returning magic art was very mysterious and all the cultivators of the three races could use it. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan exchanged the origin returning magic art of the Rain Ancestor. At the same time, he also exchanged for a few other origin returning magic arts, spending a total of 5 billion merit points. Very soon Ning Fan spent 30 billion merit points, leaving only 12 billion left. Ning Fan did not spend his merit points recklessly anymore. He only exchanged for a few 6th revolution pill recipes, and began to search around the 5th floor. He still wanted to exchange for a high-grade 7th revolution healing pill for the small sable to heal its injuries. He also wanted to exchange for a high-grade sword restriction to control the 5 sword spirits for his own use. However, the highest grade healing pill on the 5th floor was only at the peak grade 6th revolution. As for the sword restriction of the highest grade, it was only enough to control the peak mortal void realm flying sword spirits. Let's go to the 6th floor. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he entered the 6th floor of the Merit Tower under Han Songzi's lead. The 6th floor was not spacious. There were only 13 jade racks. There were also not many items on them. However, each of them could make a void fragmentation realm cultivator's eyes burn with desire. In this floor, there were not only a small number of 7th revolution pills, but also tens of tufts of 100,000 years old spiritual herbs that could be exchanged. A tuft of 100,000 years old spiritual herb cost 500 million merit points. It was extremely expensive. Ning Fan shook his head. He was not prepared to spend his remaining merit points on spiritual herbs that he would not be able to use. His eyes scanned across each of the jade racks and the 7th revolution pills. There were 7th revolution healing pills here. However, the highest grade healing pill was only a mid-grade 7th revolution healing pill, which cost 10 billion merit points. In order for the small sable to recover his 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base, he would need at least a high-grade 7th revolution healing pill. This pill might not be able to fully heal the small sable's injuries. However, it should be able to slow down some of its injuries. Ning Fan let out a sigh. In the end, he still spent 10 billion merit points to exchange for this pill. With only 2 billion merit points left, Ning Fan skipped over the cultivation methods and secret techniques of the 6th floor, and the 7th revolution pill recipe. Then his eyes lit up. He found an ancient jade slip in a corner. The price of that jade slip was 1.5 billion merit points. It recorded a sword restriction that could control the sword spirits. This sword restriction was called Life and Death Restriction. It was said that it was created by Emperor Xia, one of the famous sword sovereigns of the sword world a million years ago. Emperor Xia was also considered as a peerless figure. Rumor has it that when he was alive he was invincible in the sword world. When he was at his strongest, he even dared to carry his sword alone to the devil world, demon world and heaven immortal world to challenge the cultivators of the various worlds. Unfortunately, when he was in the limelight, he suddenly died in a strange way, making countless cultivators of the sword world sigh with regret. Emperor Xia was also considered as a peerless figure. The life and death restriction that he created was extremely powerful. He could even control the sword spirits of the immortal swords a little. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. If I plant the life and death restriction on the 5 sword spirits, it should be enough to subdue them. Now that both of his spiritual puppets had been destroyed, if he goes to the tree world and gets targeted by the void fragmentation realm experts there, he could only rely on Luoyu. The 5 sword spirits of the immortal swords possessed astonishing abilities. If he can subdue them, it would more or less be useful. If he encounters a sword cultivator at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he would only need to rely on the 5 sword spirits and he would be able to defeat them easily. His eyes flashed with determination. Since he did not have much merit points left after using the life and death restriction, he did not stay any longer and left the Virtue Tower with Han Songzi. After that, Ning Fan went to bid farewell to the Pill Sovereign, Yin Bushu, Yu Chong-er and the others. Then, he quietly left Heavenly Cloud Country when he was in the limelight. 1 month later, Ning Fan returned to 7 Apricot City. He told the ladies about his intention to temporarily leave. Coincidentally, Feng Shuiyan's fake Mo Luo blood was acting up. Thus, He used the power of the ancestral talisman to help her completely refine the blood. As she refined the fake Mo Luo blood, Feng Shuiyan's physique began to improve. Gradually, she no longer stuttered and her cultivation base was also improving at a terrifying rate day after day. Ning Fan left behind a lot of pills for the ladies. He also left behind some mid-grade 7th revolution medicine for little Martin. Then he went to a barren mountain 1,000 li away from 7 Apricot City to meet the Ming Luo tree spirit, who lived in seclusion. I'm going to the tree world. I'm afraid I won't be able to return for some time. I'll have to trouble Senior to protect you country when I'm not around. You want to go to the tree world? The Ming Luo tree spirit's face instantly revealed an ancient expression. I will take good care of you country for you. Even if that rain sovereign comes here personally, he definitely won't be able to harm a single plant in you country. You don't have to worry. However, since you're going to the tree world, I have a presumptuous request. I hope you can agree to it. Junior can't thank Senior enough for protecting you country for me. Since Senior has a request, I will certainly do my best to help you. May I know what Senior wants me to help with? Countless years ago, I was once the tree sovereign of the Ming Luo tree clan in the tree world. Later on, I was trapped in the dark sparrow grave of the rain world. And the Ming Luo tree clan declined ever since. Currently, the Ming Luo tree clan doesn't exist among the 3 sovereign forces of the tree world. Sai, if you go to the tree world, can you help me check if the Ming Luo tree clan still exists, or if it has been destroyed by someone many years ago? If the Ming Luo tree clan still exists by luck, please help me take care of my clan. My main body is trapped in the dark sparrow grave, and my clone can't leave you country either. I'm afraid I won't be able to return to my hometown in the tree world for the rest of my life. Can you agree to this request of mine? If you agree, you can take this token with you. The Ming Luo tree spirit let out a long sigh and took out a black wooden token from his storage pouch. Half a month later, in a hidden sea of trees in the cloud cliff country of the tree world, a door of rain and mist suddenly emerged. A white-robed young man slowly walked out of the jade door. Behind him were 5 little girls who were as agile as elves. Each of them was only the size of a thumb. Is this the tree world? The young man muttered to himself and suddenly raised his head. Not far away, the sound of an intense battle could be vaguely heard. Chapter 560. Without a doubt, this white-robed young man who had secretly descended to the tree world was none other than Ning Fan. Among the 9 realms, the tree realm belonged to the lower 3 realms, but it was much stronger than the rain realm. In the tree world, there were more than 2,000 cultivation countries. Each of them was governed by the 3 sovereigns of the tree world. Lu Haoyue, who Ning Fan had met once before, was none other than the Snow Willow Devil Sovereign. The tree world was huge, almost twice the size of the rain world. At this moment, Ning Fan had just descended with the help of the jade slip from the rain gate. He was now standing in an area with a sea of trees. His surroundings were filled with endless ancient trees that towered into the sky. However, he had no idea where he was in the tree world. 5 tiny sword spirits were circling around Ning Fan. All of them had been implanted with the sword seal of life and death. They had already been subdued by Ning Fan. Although the 5 little girls were not willing to be subdued by Ning Fan, they did not dare to disobey the sword restriction. They could only serve Ning Fan as their master in frustration. The first sword spirit was named Jingjing, dressed in a golden robe. The second sword spirit was named Mo, and she wore a green robe. The third sword spirit's name was Shui, and she wore a blue robe. The fourth sword spirit was named Flower, and she was dressed in red. The fifth sword spirit was called Tong Tong. She was a little stutterer and wore a yellow shirt. Humph, big sister will not surrender sincerely. This is just a fake surrender. Don't be too proud. Jingjing said fiercely. Humph, if you dare to lock second sister in the sword pouch again, second sister will teach you a lesson. Mo said fiercely. Humph humph, if you want to learn third sister's sword technique, give me 100 trillion immortal jades first. Shui said fiercely. Humph, there seems to be fighting sounds in the west, but fourth sister won't fight for you. Hua said fiercely. Humph, humph, humph. Little stutterer Tong Tong glared at him fiercely, unable to form a complete sentence. The 5 little girls had a fierce expression on their faces, but Ning Fan acted as if he didn't see it. He raised his head slightly and looked to the west across the sea of trees. He had just landed in the tree world when he heard the sounds of fighting. He spread out his divine sense slightly, and immediately sensed that there was a group of cultivators fighting to the death in a tree valley 400 kilometers to the west. I can get some information from these cultivators. Ning Fan waved his sleeve. Ignoring the resistance of the 5 sword spirits, he kept them into the sword pouch on his waist. It was a cloth bag embroidered with silver sword patterns. It was hung next to the storage bag, and was specifically used to store flying swords. Many sword cultivators loved to carry a sword pouch with them. Ning Fan used a sword pouch to store the 5 sword spirits. After keeping the 5 little girls back into the sword pouch, Ning Fan's figure flashed. He directly leaped across a great distance, and silently appeared in the tree valley that was 400 li away. This was an extremely secluded tree valley located in the depths of the sea of trees, rarely visited by people. However, today, there were more than 10 bandits surrounding 3 lone cultivators, and they were engaged in a shady business of killing and seizing treasures. These bandits were at least at the harmonious spirit realm, and the strongest among them was an early gold core cultivator. Although the outfits of these bandits were all different, they all had a silver flower pattern on their clothes, which seemed to be the emblem of a certain bandit cultivation force. The cultivators who were besieged were an early harmonious spirit girl, and 2 peak harmonious spirit old men. The girl was wearing a yellow robe, with a faint demonic power of a tree monster around her body. Being besieged by bandits, her breathing was disordered and her face was tense. The 2 peak harmonious spirit old men stood in front of the girl to protect her. They seemed to be the girl's elders. They were obviously seriously injured, but they still protected the girl to prevent her from being harmed by the bandits. The 2 peak harmonious spirit old men risked their lives like ferocious tigers on the verge of death. Their remaining power caused the bandits' expressions to change slightly, and they didn't dare to approach them rashly. However, under the siege of the bandits, the 2 old men's injuries became more and more serious. The gold core bandit squinted his eyes. He wasn't in a hurry to kill the 2 old men. He just smiled coldly and ordered the bandits beside him. This girl is the cauldron that the young lord has taken a fancy to. Don't harm her life. Capture her, and bring her back to the young lord. As for these 2 old men, don't delay any longer. Just kill them. In this Earth Abyss Kingdom, the young lord's orders are absolute. All sects and clans are like ants to him. Yes. Under the gold core bandits' order, more than 10 harmonious spirit bandits immediately showed their trump cards. One after another, they attacked the 2 old men with their magical treasures. They avoided the girl and didn't attack her. Under the fierce attack of the magical treasures, one of the old men was cut into 2 by a spirit realm flying sword in a flash. The other old man was hit in the chest by a bronze hammer. He flew backward like a kite with a broken string. He vomited blood and fell to the ground. He was barely breathing and wasn't far from death. Uncle Sue. Uncle Chin. The girl revealed a sorrowful expression. Her knees went soft and she fell to the ground. Looking at the bandits who were approaching her step by step, the girl revealed a look of despair. Her clan was only a harmonious spirit force, but the bandit cultivators in front of her all had powerful backgrounds. She wasn't a match for these bandits, and she didn't dare to resist. It should be said that no one in the Earth Abyss Kingdom dared to resist these bandits. She was going to be captured by these bandits and brought to their young lord as a cauldron. She wasn't willing. She wasn't willing. But in this cultivation world where only the strong were respected, what could she do even if she was unwilling? Just as the girl was in despair, the space in the tree valley suddenly rippled slightly. A white-robed young man suddenly appeared in the tree valley. No one could see how he arrived. When the harmonious spirit bandits saw the sudden appearance of this white-robed young man, they attacked him without hesitation. Kill all the passers-by. The gold core bandit ordered indifferently. They couldn't see through the white-robed young man's cultivation. Even the gold core cultivators couldn't sense a trace of his chi. No one asked why this young man appeared here. Why would these bandits ask for a reason to kill someone? The white-robed young man's expression was cold. He didn't even look at those spirit-level magical treasures that were attacking him. The girl looked at the young man's back with a numb expression and sighed bitterly. She thought that she was innocent of provoking the young lord of these bandits and being captured as a cauldron. Now, it seemed that this white-robed young man who suddenly appeared was even more innocent. He was going to be killed by these bandits without any reason. How pitiful. The girl couldn't see through the young man's cultivation. Seeing that the young man was surrounded by more than 10 harmonious spirit cultivators, she naturally believed that the young man would die for sure. Even a peak harmonious spirit cultivator will die if he is besieged by these bandits. As soon as the girl's voice faded, her eyes suddenly widened in disbelief. Those powerful magical treasures turned into countless flowing lights and attacked the white-robed young man. However, they suddenly couldn't move forward even half an inch. The space around the white-robed young man seemed to have frozen. All the magical treasures were forcefully stopped in mid-air. In the next moment, without any warning, all the magic treasures turned into ashes and were annihilated. During the whole process, the white-robed young man didn't even lift his hand. He had already broken through the siege of all the harmonious spirit cultivators. Who are you? We are from the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The early gold core bandit saw the young man's strength and thought that this white-robed young man was actually a nascent soul cultivator. For a moment, he naturally didn't dare to attack the young man again. However, he wasn't afraid of the young man. He arrogantly announced the power behind him, hoping to intimidate the young man. However, the young man's eyes were like a bottomless abyss. There wasn't a single ripple in them. He wasn't frightened by the name of the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom at all. He didn't even give the gold core bandit time to finish his words. He only slightly released his magical power, and the space shook. What kind of vast magical power was that? In front of such magical power, even a gold core or nascent soul cultivator was just a speck of dust. In just an instant, all the bandits were smashed into minced meat and died a violent death. How is this possible? The young lady and the dying old man stood rooted to the ground in shock. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. They couldn't imagine what cultivation realm this white-robed young man was at. He could kill a gold core realm cultivator just by releasing his magical power. Neither gold core realm nor nascent soul realm cultivators could do it. Could it be that this white-robed young man is actually a divine transformation realm old monster? Just as the young lady and the injured old man were thinking about it, the white-robed young man flicked his sleeve and captured the gold core realm cultivator's soul in his hand. Then he searched his soul and memory. After that, his figure flashed and disappeared without a trace without looking at the young lady and the others. Thank you for saving my life, Senior. The young lady sincerely knelt in the direction where the young man left. She kowtowed a few times before getting up to take care of the injured old man. Of course, she didn't know that the white-robed young man had a cold personality. He didn't do it to save her but just to ask for directions. The Earth Abyss Kingdom, huh? Ning Fan appeared on the top of a giant tree with a sway of his body. He wore a thoughtful look on his face. Among the 2,000 cultivation countries in the tree world, the Earth Abyss Kingdom was a void-grade cultivation country. It was located in the northern tree sea of the tree world. The tree world was divided into the north, south, east and west tree seas. In the North Tree Sea, the Earth Abyss Kingdom could be considered as a famous country. The group of bandits that he killed belonged to the Soaring Flower Valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The Soaring Flower Valley was a bandit force. It was said that they had a Void Refinement Realm cultivator as their leader. Within the Earth Abyss Kingdom, there were very few people who dared to offend the people of the Soaring Flower Valley. Ning Fan was naturally not afraid of the Soaring Flower Valley. A lowly bandit force like this could not make him feel any fear at all. From the Gold Core Realm bandits' memories, Ning Fan learned that his destination, the Fire Tree Clan, was located in the West Tree Sea. It was extremely far away from the Earth Abyss Kingdom. He would need to travel across half of the tree world to get there. The tree world was huge. If Ning Fan wants to go to the Fire Tree Clan, he would first need to find a complete map of the tree world. He pondered for a moment. After a while, he displayed his void teleportation technique. With a single step, he flew towards the largest cultivation city in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. the largest trading city of the Earth Abyss Kingdom, the vast Cold City. In the Gold Core Realm Bandit's memory, the vast Cold City was the largest cultivation city in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. The city was 10,000 zhang tall, and the area was 10,000 li wide. There were countless cultivation shops in the city. Countless cultivators of the Earth Abyss Kingdom would come to this city to purchase items. It was said that there was nothing that could not be bought in the Earth Abyss Kingdom. Tens of thousands of years ago, a void fragmentation realm Dao fruit was once sold in the Earth Abyss City. It had shocked the entire tree world. Naturally, good items like the void fragmentation realm Dao fruit were not something that one could come across every year. They could only be found by luck, but not by searching for them. Ning Fan retracted his traveling light and landed outside the northern gate of the vast Cold City. He paid some immortal jade and directly entered the city. The reason why he entered the city was to purchase a map. He did not look nervous at all. He did not feel any pressure sneaking into the tree world. His gaze swept across the city. Most of the cultivators in the city were tree demons, but there were also tree devils. At the same time, there were also many human cultivators who cultivated wood elemental cultivation methods. Water cultivators were the most common in the rain world, while wood cultivators were the most common in the tree world. In the tree world, there were profound cultivators, demon cultivators and devil cultivators. Moreover, it was not like the rain world where profound cultivators were respected and devil cultivators were regarded as a disgrace. There was no need for Ning Fan to deliberately conceal his identity when he was traveling in the tree world. Not long after Ning Fan entered the city, he suddenly frowned and halted his footsteps after walking on a bluestone street. He saw a middle-aged scholar following him from afar. Ever since Ning Fan entered the city, he had been following him. What's the matter? Ning Fan turned around and stared at the middle-aged scholar coldly without any extra expression. After he entered the city, the chi that he gave off was at the early nascent soul realm, while this middle-aged scholar was just a mid-gold core realm cultivator. Since this middle-aged scholar was following him, he probably did not have any ill intentions. When the middle-aged scholar realized that he was discovered by Ning Fan, he nervously approached him. Then he gave Ning Fan a simple and honest smile. "Senior, please don't misunderstand me. I don't have any ill intentions following you. I just have something to ask you. It must be Senior's first time coming to the vast Cold City. So what if I am? Since Senior has come to the vast Cold City, I'm sure that you are here to purchase something. Even though my cultivation base is low, I know the 100,000 shops in the city like the back of my hand. As long as Senior pays me 500 immortal jade, I'm willing to lead the way for Senior to any shop that you want to visit within today." As soon as the middle-aged scholar finished speaking, he became a little nervous. He did not know if Ning Fan was willing to pay 500 immortal jade to hire him as a guide. The vast Cold City was extremely large. There were more than 100,000 shops in the city. If an ordinary cultivator were to visit every shop, he or she would not know how long it would take. Therefore, there would often be Gold Core Realm rogue cultivators leading the way for others in exchange for payment. The lifetime savings of a Gold Core Realm cultivator was about 100,000 immortal jade. The middle-aged scholar could earn 500 immortal jade a day by leading the way. In a year, he could earn more than 100,000 immortal jade. To nascent soul realm old monsters, 500 immortal jade was insignificant. To some Gold Core Realm cultivators who were eager to shop, 500 immortal jade was just a small amount of money. To Ning Fan, 500 immortal jade was just like a fleeting cloud. He could save a lot of time by just spending 500 immortal jade. Of course, Ning Fan was very willing to do so. He patted his storage pouch and took out 500 immortal jade, tossing them to the middle-aged scholar. The middle-aged scholar kept the immortal jade and gradually calmed down. His attitude towards Ning Fan became even more respectful. "May I know what Senior wants to purchase in the vast Cold City?" "A map." "A map, huh? If Senior only wants a map of the Earth Abyss Kingdom, you can purchase it with just a few thousand immortal jade. The Flowing Mist Pavilion at the north of the city sells it. If Senior needs a map of the Earth Abyss Kingdom and the 10 countries around it, you will need to spend at least several tens of thousands of immortal jade. You have to go to the Qin Yi Pavilion to purchase it. If Senior needs a map of the other countries in the Northern Forest Sea, they can only be sold at the Hani Pavilion at the south of the city. May I know what kind of map Senior wants to purchase? The middle-aged scholar explained tirelessly. He seemed to be well-versed in this business. I want a complete map of the tree world, Ning Fan said indifferently. The middle-aged scholar was shocked when he heard Ning Fan's words. Then he looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression. Senior wants a complete map of the tree world? Could it be that he was joking with the younger generation? Everyone knows that you can't buy a complete map of the tree world. Why? Could it be that there isn't a complete map of the tree world in the vast cold city? Ning Fan frowned. The middle-aged scholar's heart immediately turned cold. The moment his eyes met Ning Fan's, the middle-aged scholar felt his heart palpitate. He could not withstand Ning Fan's devil might at all. At first, he thought that Ning Fan was just an early nascent soul realm old monster. Now it seemed like Ning Fan might still be concealing his cultivation base. Could he be at the mid or late nascent soul realm? The middle-aged scholar's cultivation base was not high, but his eyesight was not weak. After sensing Ning Fan's terrifying devil might, how would he dare to offend Ning Fan? Instead, he became even more respectful. The tree world was divided into 4 great forest seas, and each of them was ruled by the 3 great tree sovereigns. Each forest sea was heavily guarded, and there was no complete map of the tree world that was leaked to the outside world. This was common knowledge among the cultivators of the tree world. The middle-aged scholar did not understand why Ning Fan did not know about this common knowledge. However, after sensing Ning Fan's terrifying devil might, he did not dare to speak recklessly anymore. He thought to himself that Ning Fan was probably a cultivator from a clan who had never left the clan, and rarely came into contact with the common knowledge of the outside world. With that thought in mind, the middle-aged scholar could not help but explain patiently. Senior, you should know that the 3 sovereigns of the tree world each occupy the east, west and south of the 3 great forest seas. They are not connected to each other. The maps of the 3 great forest seas are rarely leaked to the Northern Forest Sea for sale. The map of the Northern Forest Sea, which covers the largest area in my vast cold city, is also the map. Besides, this map is only sold in the Limitless Pavilion. It has always been sold to old monsters who are at the peak nascent soul realm and above. The map of the Northern Forest Sea is extremely expensive. A copy of it usually costs 1 million immortal jade. Normally, only divine transformation realm old monsters, and some powerful great cultivators can afford it. As soon as the middle-aged scholar finished speaking, he secretly studied Ning Fan. In his memory, there were also some nascent soul realm old monsters who wanted to buy the map of the Northern Forest Sea. However, they would usually give up after hearing that the map costs 1 million immortal jade. However, Ning Fan was different. His expression did not change at all when he heard that the map costs 1 million immortal jade, as if it was insignificant to him. This person is definitely not an ordinary nascent soul realm old monster. Perhaps, this person's true identity is a peak nascent soul realm great cultivator. The moment the middle-aged scholar thought about it, he became even more astonished. After listening to the middle-aged scholar's introduction, Ning Fan fell into silence and began to ponder. Initially, he wanted to buy the map of the entire tree world in vast cold city. Only now did he realize that it was impossible for him to buy it. The tree world was divided into 4 great forest seas. Each of the 3 sovereigns occupied a forest sea as their territory. They did not allow outsiders to spy on their territories and strictly limited the sale of the map. Only the Northern Forest Sea did not have a tree sovereign. Therefore, it was not difficult to buy the map of the Northern Forest Sea. Forget it. I'll buy the map of the Northern Forest Sea first. Lead the way to the everlasting pavilion. Ning Fan made up his mind with just a glance. The middle-aged scholar was shocked once again. He could not imagine that Ning Fan would really spend 1 million immortal jade to buy the map of the Northern Forest Sea. In the middle-aged scholar's long life, buying the map of the Northern Forest Sea was definitely the biggest deal he had ever made. This junior will follow Senior's order. I'll bring Senior to the everlasting pavilion now. In the soaring flower valley of the Earth Abyss Kingdom, in a large hall in the depths of the valley, a black-robed young man stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes were filled with anger as he stared at the dismembered corpses of the bandit cultivators. There is actually someone in the Earth Abyss Kingdom who dares to offend my soaring flower valley. He is simply courting death. This young lord wants to see which audacious person dares to kill my young lord soaring flower's subordinates. The black-robed young man patted his storage pouch and took out a small silver mirror. It was actually a mid-grade mortal void treasure. Even though it was just a mid-grade mortal void treasure, it was very extraordinary. The mirror actually contained a trace of chi left behind by a void fragmentation realm expert. The black-robed young man waved the small mirror and shone it at the dismembered corpses. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's figure was reflected in the mirror. He is in the vast cold city of the Earth Abyss Kingdom. This person could kill gold core realm cultivators with just his chi. His cultivation base is at least at the early divine transformation realm. I have heard of cultivators who are at the mid-divine transformation realm and above in the northern forest sea. But I have never heard of this person before. Is this person just an early divine transformation realm ant? Humph. The vast cold city is not far away. I will personally take action and kill this divine transformation realm ant. The lord of the city is just a void glimpse stage cultivator. Coincidentally, I also have some old scores to settle with him. The black-robed young man took a step forward. In a flash of void inquiry stage light, he flew towards the vast cold city. He was actually a void inquiry stage cultivator. In a void-grade cultivation country like the Earth Abyss Kingdom, he was definitely a devil lord who ran amok. Whoever provokes him would die. Chapter 561. The everlasting pavilion in the east of the Moon City was thousands of miles away from the north of the city. With the middle-aged scholar's golden core speed, it would take him a day to arrive. Fortunately, Ning Fan was traveling with them. Naturally, he would not spend a single day on comprehending them. Ning Fan just flicked his sleeve gently. A vast amount of magic power engulfed the middle-aged scholar. Both of them instantly traveled across 10,000 li and appeared outside the everlasting pavilion. T-Divine Transformation Realm Old Monster. The middle-aged scholar was nearly frightened to death by Ning Fan's speed. As far as he knew, those who could travel 10,000 miles in one go were at least deity transformation cultivators. Only a spirit-severing old monster's teleportation technique could allow him to travel 10,000 miles in one go. Initially, he guessed that Ning Fan was a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. From the looks of it, Ning Fan was at least an early divine transformation realm old monster. This person is actually a deity transformation stage old monster. I can't believe I can lead the way for a deity transformation stage old monster. The middle-aged scholar was shocked, but his eyes were burning. He bowed respectfully to Ning Fan and pointed at a 10,000 zhong treasure pavilion in front of him. Senior, please take a look. This is the Limitless Pavilion. Only the Everlasting Pavilion could sell the map of the North Tree Sea. The master of the Everlasting Pavilion was the City Lord of Moon City. He was an early void refinement realm old monster. In order to enter the Everlasting Pavilion to shop, you need to be at least a grand cultivator. This junior is unable to enter. Since you can't enter the pavilion, you should leave. I can enter alone. Ning Fan dismissed the middle-aged scholar and walked towards the Everlasting Pavilion alone. There were no cultivators guarding the Everlasting Pavilion. There were only two wooden beast statues squatting outside the door. The wooden sculpture was vivid and lifelike, and its pair of beast eyes were extremely intelligent. When Ning Fan approached the Limitless Pavilion, the two wooden beasts suddenly emitted a faint light. They stood up on all fours and stared at Ning Fan coldly. Each of the wood beasts was emitting the aura of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. These two wooden beasts were clearly two puppet beasts. Halt your steps. Cultivators below the pinnacle of Yuanfeng are not allowed to enter the Wuji Pavilion. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the two beasts and he was slightly surprised. No wonder there was no one guarding the Wuji Pavilion. It turned out that there were two peak Yuan puppets guarding it. The craftsmanship of these two puppets was rather special. Unlike the Rain Immortal puppets and Northern Sky puppets, they were actually completely made of wood. The material of the second puppet was nothing special. However, There was a profound talisman formation carved on the surface of the puppet. Even with Ning Fan's level of attainment in the Tao of formations, he could only see some of the complexity of the talisman formation. Ning Fan's eyes and his eyes turned cold. The grade of these two puppets might not be high, but the one who made them was definitely an extremely powerful puppeteer. In the face of the two beasts' cold gazes, Ning Fan naturally did not say much. He only released a bit of his qi, which was roughly at the peak nascent soul realm. After sensing Ning Fan's peak nascent soul realm qi, the coldness in the two beasts' eyes immediately dissipated. They crouched down again and said to Ning Fan proudly, "Your cultivation base is strong enough. You can enter now." Ordinary puppets, realm puppets, had sieve of them of their eyes. Ning Fan was very sure that these two puppet beasts were not puppets with spiritual intelligence, but they were able to show such a proud expression. Could it be that the puppet master's skills were extraordinary? They were the Pavilion Fan who Fan Long Dragon. Pavilion, of the Fan, Pavilion of Miles of Pavilion, Miles of Jade, Miles of the first level. Each of the jade shelves was equipped with layers of formation light. There were also puppet beasts guarding the shelves. Many peak nascent realm cultivators were choosing their items on the first level. The ones who welcomed them were human-shaped puppets. At the moment when Ning Fan stepped into the everlasting pavilion, a smiling female puppet walked towards him with light and graceful steps. This puppet was a sentient puppet with a half-step deity transformation cultivation base. Its eyes were as clear as a spring, and it was even more intelligent than a living person. "Fellow Taoist, what do you want to purchase from my pavilion? I am Lu Rua, the shopkeeper of the first level of the pavilion." "Map," Ning Fan answered indifferently. "Oh, what kind of map do you want to buy? There are maps of Earth Abyss Country, Hanhai Country, and Wuyu Country on this shelf." The lady pointed at a jade shelf at the side. The shelf was filled with countless jade slips. Each of them was imprinted with map information. Beside each jade slip was a standard map of the area and the price of the jade slip. "I want a map of the entire North Tree Sea." Ning Fan's indifferent voice resounded on the first level. Then he took out a storage pouch and handed it to the female puppet. The pouch contained 1,000,000 immortal jades. Even though his voice was not loud, all the peak nascent realm old monsters on the first level could naturally hear him. Many of them looked at Ning Fan and the storage pouch that contained 1,000,000 immortal jades. Their eyes were filled with shock and passion. Even peak nascent realm old monsters were not willing to spend 1,000,000 immortal jades to buy a map. There were also some who came to the pavilion to buy a map of the North Tree Sea. However, when they heard the price, they gave up on the idea. A few peak nascent realm old monsters studied Ning Fan from top to bottom. They felt that he was a little unfamiliar and started guessing his background and origin. There were also a few ferocious-looking old monsters who were secretly paying attention to Ning Fan. When they saw Ning Fan spending lavishly, they vaguely regarded him as a fat sheep. No one knew what kind of evil intentions they had. Ning Fan did not even look at those malicious old monsters. To him, a mere peak nascent realm cultivator was nothing to be afraid of. The female puppet took the storage pouch and scanned it with her spirit sense. Then she gave Ning Fan a meaningful smile. "Fellow Taoist, may I know why you want to buy a map of the North Tree Sea?" Ning Fan did not answer her question. Instead, he slowly walked to the jade rack at the side and reached out his hand to grab a jade slip on it. That jade slip was the map of the North Tree Sea. The formation light on the jade rack was a mid-grade divine transformation realm formation light. Even a divine transformation realm cultivator would not dare to touch the item on the rack. As soon as she saw Ning Fan taking the jade slip, the female puppet was slightly surprised. Just as she was about to stop him, an old voice suddenly resounded beside her ears. "There's no need to stop him. This young man has hidden his strength well. He won't be hurt by a mere divine transformation realm formation light." Just like what the mysterious old man said, Ning Fan directly passed through the formation light and took the jade slip. Then he turned around and left without being hurt at all. However, before he left, he suddenly raised his head and looked at the upper floor of the everlasting pavilion with a meaningful gaze. On the first floor of the everlasting pavilion, all the peak nascent realm old monsters were stunned. No matter how stupid they were, They could tell how strong Ning Fan was. Since even the divine transformation realm formation light could not hurt him, it was impossible for him to be a nascent soul realm cultivator. It was highly possible that he was a divine transformation realm old monster. Some of the nascent soul realm cultivators who harbored malicious intentions earlier revealed a look of fear when they thought that Ning Fan might be a divine transformation realm old monster. None of them dared to have any evil thoughts towards Ning Fan anymore. On the top floor of the everlasting pavilion, an old man in brown robes was stunned for a moment. Then, his eyes revealed a look of contemplation. What exactly is this young man's cultivation base? He should have already advanced to the void refinement realm. However, I'm not sure if he is a void glimpse stage cultivator or a void inquiry stage cultivator. Perhaps his cultivation base is even higher. There's an extremely strong puppet chi on this young man's body. However, this puppet seems to be damaged. It's a pity. There's a trace of ancient chi on this puppet. It should be carved with ancient runes. I wonder if this young man's puppet fragments are for sale. The brown-robed old man's mind raced. All of a sudden, he made a decision and transmitted his voice to the female puppet on the first floor. Then the female puppet hurriedly chased after Ning Fan before he left and urged him to stay. Fellow Daoist, please wait. My master invites you to the top floor of the everlasting pavilion for a chat. Your master? Ning Fan's eyes were calm without any emotion. The master of the everlasting pavilion was just a void glimpse stage cultivator. This kind of cultivation base was not enough to pose any threat to Ning Fan. Thus, Ning Fan naturally did not have any concerns. After pondering for a moment, Ning Fan said to the female puppet, "Lead the way." He really wanted to see why the master of the everlasting pavilion was looking for him. Ning Fan followed the female puppet to the top floor of the everlasting pavilion. Along the way, the cultivators they met were all shocked when they saw Ning Fan ascending the stairs. From the second floor onwards, the cultivators who came to shop were at least divine transformation realm old monsters. In the eyes of these divine transformation realm old monsters, Ning Fan was just a nascent soul realm cultivator. It was hard for them to imagine why a peak nascent soul realm cultivator was qualified to ascend to the second floor, and even climb to a higher floor. Who is this man? Could it be that he's heading to the top floor? The top floor. That's the place where the master of the everlasting pavilion receives void refinement realm cultivators. Could it be that this nascent soul realm cultivator is actually a void refinement realm old monster? This man doesn't look impressive, but he's actually a void refinement realm old monster. An expert of this level is a formidable character who dominates a region in the entire North Tree Sea. We must never offend this person. Ning Fan walked all the way to the top floor. The female puppet excused herself and Ning Fan pushed the door open and entered alone. On the top floor was a pavilion with simple decorations. An elderly man in brown robes was sitting on a rattan chair and drinking tea alone. Behind him stood 8 wooden puppets. Each of them had a half-step void refinement realm cultivation base. Seeing Ning Fan's arrival, the elderly man immediately revealed a smile and poured a cup of tea for Ning Fan. Then he said politely, "Fellow Taoist, please have a seat. This is the supreme grade spiritual tea that I bought from the Bamboo Lake country, Bamboo Lake Cloud Mist Tea. It was brewed with 100-year cold spring water and boiled with a 6th grade void flame. Fellow Taoist, how does it taste?" Ning Fan's gaze swept across the wooden puppets and fell into deep thought. Then he shifted his gaze away and sat on the rattan chair on the other side. Then he picked up the cup of spiritual tea and took a sip. The spiritual chi of this tea was overwhelming. The tea leaves were like miniature bamboo leaves. When the tea entered his mouth, it melted like mist and carried the fragrance of green bamboo. Good tea. Ning Fan put down the mutton fat jade teacup and looked at the elderly man in brown robes meaningfully. The elderly man was also carefully studying Ning Fan. At the same time, he spread out his spirit sense, trying to sense Ning Fan's specific cultivation base. However, as soon as his spirit sense came into contact with Ning Fan's body, it immediately disappeared without a trace, like a clay ox falling into the sea. He could not see through Ning Fan's cultivation base at all. The elderly man's eyes widened. He was a void glimpse stage cultivator after all. His spirit sense was not weak among void glimpse stage cultivators. However, he could not find out anything about Ning Fan's cultivation base. This young man's chi is very reserved. He is definitely not a void glimpse stage cultivator. We mustn't offend him. The elderly man was a little fearful of Ning Fan. At the same time, he became interested in the puppet chi that Ning Fan was giving off. He remained silent for a while. Ning Fan also smiled without saying a word. After a while, the elderly man withdrew his spirit sense and cupped his fists at Ning Fan. I am Guanghanzi. I am the city lord of this Guanghan city, and also the pavilion master of the everlasting pavilion. I have made a lot of acquaintances in the northern tree sea. However, fellow Taoist looks a little unfamiliar to me. May I know your name? Liu Bei. Ning Fan smiled and took a sip of his tea. This time he snuck into the tree world secretly. It was not appropriate for him to expose his identity. With his reputation in the rain world, many people in the tree world might have heard of Marquis White Robe's name. Ning Fan Zhou. These two names were closely related to Marquis White Robe's identity. Thus, it was not appropriate to use them. If others find out that the dignified Marquis White Robe had snuck into the tree world, they might even suspect that he was plotting something against the tree world and cause some trouble. The management of the passage between the 9 worlds was extremely strict. Even if Moksha Sovereign sends someone to the rain world to kill someone, he would need to use a sovereign execution token. Moreover, he could only kill one person with one token. Ning Fan was not so conceited that he could expose his identity in the rain world and fight against the 3 sovereigns of the tree world alone. So it's fellow Taoist Liu. Forgive me for not recognizing you. Guanghanzi was smiling, but inwardly he felt strange. The name Liu Bei was very unfamiliar. He was definitely not a cultivator of the northern tree sea. He pondered inwardly. Could it be that this young man in front of him is a cultivator of the tree world, who came from another sea of trees? Guanghanzi collected his thoughts and continued to chat with Ning Fan for a while. Ning Fan also answered him fluently without any hesitation. As the two of them were chatting, time passed bit by bit. Guanghanzi rubbed his forehead. He felt that it was time to get to the main topic. I sensed a trace of the chi of a puppet from fellow Taoist's body. That puppet is very strong. Extremely strong. There must be ancient runes engraved on it. Unfortunately, according to my senses, this puppet has already been destroyed. It's really a pity. I want to exchange some puppet fragments with fellow Taoist. I wonder if fellow Taoist is willing to accept my request? Puppet. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. Inwardly, he became vigilant. Not even the Rain Sovereign could sense the void fragmentation realm puppets on his body. However, Guanghanzi was able to sense them. He must have a special secret technique to sense puppets. Jihua and Zidian were the puppets of the heavenly tribulation. Even if they are destroyed, they would still be of great value. If the fact that Ning Fan has the 2 puppets is leaked out, he would most likely get into some trouble. Could it be that this Guanghanzi wants to get his puppet fragments by inviting him here for a chat? Then Ning Fan's thoughts changed. This Guanghanzi seems to be quite proficient in the art of puppets. I wonder if he can repair void fragmentation realm puppets. Seeing Ning Fan's vigilant expression, Guanghanzi immediately waved his hands and said with an apologetic smile, "Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand me. I definitely don't have any ulterior motives towards you. I just want to see the ancient runes on your puppet fragments." Just as Guanghanzi's voice fell, a deafening bang suddenly resounded outside the everlasting pavilion. The entire city shook violently. That loud bang was deafening. It was the sound of the city's grand formation being broken by someone. Guanghanzi's expression turned to one of shock. Immediately, his body swayed and he brought all of his puppets out of the everlasting pavilion. Ning Fan wore a thoughtful expression. Then he also swayed his body and flew into the sky. A black-robed young man stood in midair with an extremely cold expression. His void inquiry stage aura force swept across the sky, causing countless low-grade cultivators in the city to tremble in fear. Whoever killed the people of my soaring flower valley, get out here. Chapter 562. The moment the black-clothed young man shattered the grand array of Moon City, the entire Moon City was in an uproar and exclamations were like a tide. This man is the young master of Soaring Flowers Valley, the Soaring Flowers Marquis. Do you? What? This person was the Flying Flower young master, who controlled the 1,000,000 bandits in the Flying Flower Valley? Rumor has it that he is the only personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. Even though his cultivation base is only at the Void Inquiry stage, no one dares to offend him when he roams the Northern Tree Sea. Even those Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters who live in seclusion do not dare to attack him easily. What? Diyu was actually the Vine Sovereign's only disciple. The Vine Sovereign. She is the Tree Sovereign who rules over the Western Tree Sea. Her terrifying cultivation base is at the 5th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Her strength alone is enough to suppress the entire Northern Tree Sea. With such a powerful master, who would dare to provoke Diyu? This Diyu destroyed the grand formation of the vast Frost City as soon as he arrived. I'm afraid he doesn't come with good intentions. Judging from Diyu's words, someone in the vast Frost City has killed the people of the Soaring Flower Valley. I wonder which cultivator is so audacious to kill Diyu's people. Now that Diyu has personally come to seek revenge, that person is probably dead for sure. I feel that Diyu has an ulterior motive for coming here. I heard that he had a feud with the Lord of Moon City for some reason. Perhaps he's here to cause trouble for Moon God Zi. Guang Hanzi and Ning Fan rose into the sky one after another. They were only 10,000 zhang away from Diyu. Diyu stood in the sky with his hands behind his back while his black robe fluttered in the wind. His face was emaciated, his gaze was gloomy, and his body emitted a trace of a fiery aura that wasn't weak. Guang Hanzi revealed a slightly panicked expression when he saw Diyu approaching menacingly, and he rubbed his hands together and smiled apologetically. He was just about to go forward and greet Diyu. In the Earth Abyss Kingdom, Diyu was too infamous. Moreover, it was said that Diyu was accepted as the personal disciple of the West Tree Sea Vine Sovereign. Guang Hanzi didn't dare to offend him. What brings Brother Diyu to my Moon City? Guang Hanzi was just about to exchange a few words with Diyu to calm Diyu's rage when he saw Diyu's cold gaze sweep over and snort coldly with disdain. Brother Diyu? Humph, who is your brother Diyu? Get lost. Diyu's eyes darkened. Looking at Guang Hanzi and Ning Fan who appeared one after another, he suddenly took a step forward. All of a sudden, an aura force that was like a scorching sun pressed down on the two of them. In the sky, the shadow of a scarlet sun suddenly appeared. The scarlet sun shone brightly. The moment it appeared, the entire Moon City became like a steamer basket, and the scorching sun was like fire. With just a glance, Diyu could tell that Ning Fan who was with Guang Hanzi was the one who killed his subordinates. He mercilessly released his aura force. He was confident that he could injure Guang Hanzi and directly kill Ning Fan. This is... Ning Fan looked at the shadow of the scarlet sun. His eyes were slightly cold as if he had seen through something, but he was not afraid. Not good. When Guang Hanzi saw the scarlet sun's shadow, he was immediately shocked and quickly retreated. Guang Hanzi knew about it, and so did many cultivators of the North Tree Sea. The young lord of the Soaring Flower Valley, Diyu, possessed an extremely powerful physique. When he faced his enemies, he could summon the shadow of the sun. Few Void Inquiry stage experts at the same level as him could match him. Upon seeing Diyu summon Yang Ying, Guang Hanzi became timid. He didn't dare to fight with Diyu at all, and immediately retreated. Unfortunately, although Guang Hanzi wanted to retreat, he was still too slow. Diyu changed his hand seal. His aura force was as scorching as fire. It turned into a giant hand of the sun, and went through Guang Hanzi's body. With Guang Hanzi's mere void glimpse stage cultivation base, he could not withstand the force of this claw at all. With just a single attack, Guang Hanzi's beard and hair were all burnt and his ribs were broken. He was forced to retreat tens of steps in the sky before he could stabilize himself. He coughed out blood continuously, and his expression was filled with fear. Seeing this, Diyu sneered. Even though this Guang Hanzi is proficient in the Tao of puppets, his abilities are too weak. As expected, he is not worth mentioning. He doesn't even have the value to bully him. He glanced at Ning Fan, thinking that Ning Fan had probably been killed by the giant claw of the sun. In Du Yu's impression, Ning Fan was at most an early divine transformation realm cultivator. It was impossible for him to withstand his attack. However, when he glanced at Ning Fan and saw that he was unscathed, Du Yu's eyes were immediately filled with astonishment. That scorching aura force that was strong enough to injure Guang Hanzi had turned into a giant claw of the sun. Even though its abilities were astonishing, it could not hurt Ning Fan at all. Layers of aura force that was like waves of fire pressed down on Ning Fan. Ning Fan just stood in the sky calmly. His eyes were as calm as still water. Suddenly, he raised his hand and pressed it. All of a sudden, Du Yu's aura force shattered like glass. The giant claw of the sun exploded into countless waves of fire with a loud bang. Du Yu's attack could not hurt Ning Fan at all. Du Yu stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He could not believe that a mere divine transformation realm junior could borrow the power of his scorching sun attack. This young man is not at the divine transformation realm. He seemed to have understood something. He calmed himself down and scanned Ning Fan with his spirit sense, trying to find out his true strength. However, as soon as his spirit sense touched Ning Fan, it immediately disappeared like a clay ox falling into the sea. Ning Fan raised his hand again and pressed his palm against Du Yu's spirit sense. All of a sudden, Du Yu's spirit sense was completely shattered. He felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He coughed out blood and was forced to retreat. He was inexplicably shocked. Void Inquiry Stage. Even though Du Yu's spirit sense was shattered by Ning Fan, he could still tell that Ning Fan was a real Void Inquiry Stage cultivator. His eyes turned grim. If he knew that Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the Void Inquiry Stage, he would not have rashly come to the vast cold city alone to pick a fight with him. No matter what, he should have brought a few more people with him. So what if he's a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator? Even if he's a Void Pierce Stage or Absolute Void Stage cultivator, Du Yu would still dare to kill him as long as he is well prepared. He put away his shocked expression and said disdainfully while looking at Ning Fan with a cold smile. I didn't expect you to be a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator. However, so what if you're a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator? You've already angered me by daring to hurt the people of my soaring Flower Valley. You won't be able to escape death in the end. Even if you're at the Void Pierce Stage, Absolute Void Stage or Origin Returning Stage, you still can't afford to offend me. Since your cultivation base isn't weak, I'll give you a chance. If you kneel down and admit your mistake, allow me to plant a mental seal on you and become my slave. I can spare your life. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving the Earth Abyss Kingdom alive. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm the personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. In this Northern Tree Sea, there are Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators secretly protecting me. You better not disobey my orders. I'll only give you 3 breaths of time to consider. Either you become my slave or die. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He had seen many cultivators in his life, but it was definitely his first time seeing someone as arrogant as Du Yu. When he thought about it carefully, he understood why Du Yu was so arrogant. Du Yu had a master whose reputation shook the entire tree world. She was the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. This was the first reason why he was so arrogant. Du Yu's bone age was less than 5,000 years. However, his cultivation base was already at the Void Inquiry Stage. His abilities were not weak, and he also possessed an extremely unique physique. He commanded millions of bandits. This was the second reason why he was so arrogant. As for the final reason why Du Yu was so arrogant and hot-tempered, it was also because of his physique. Du Yu's physique was the Scarlet Yang physique, which was one of the 7 Yang physiques. Among the 7 Yang physiques, the Scarlet Yang physique was the most tyrannical one. This physique was naturally good at cultivating dual cultivation techniques of the Devil Path. However, the woman he plucked would definitely die. This physique had a drawback. Even though the possessor of this physique was good at displaying flaming Yang abilities, their temperament would become more and more hot-tempered, crazy and extreme as their Yang power increased. It was impossible for Ning Fan to kowtow and apologize to Du Yu, let alone become his slave. On the contrary, Ning Fan would even kill Du Yu because of his physique. Du Yu had the 7 Yang physique. He was the possessor of the Yang physique that Ning Fan was looking for. Since he came to Ning Fan's doorstep to seek his own death, Ningfan naturally would not let him go. Even though Du had a powerful background and he had the tree sovereign of the Western Tree Sea as his master, this background was not enough to scare Ningfan. Guang Hanzi was still in a state of deep shock. When he met Ningfan in the Limitless Pavilion, he could only tell that Ningfan had a Void Refinement Realm cultivation base. However, he could not tell what his exact cultivation level was. Today, after hearing Du's furious roar, Guang Hanzi finally realized that Ningfan was actually a Void Inquiry stage cultivator. Moreover, Ningfan's abilities were rather powerful. With just a casual palm strike, he could crush Du's attack and even destroy his spirit sense. Guang Hanzi thought to himself. Even some Void Pierce stage cultivators might not be as powerful as Ningfan. He admitted that Ningfan was strong, but he did not think that Ningfan would dare to offend Du. Also, he did not think that Ningfan could afford to offend Du. This Liu Bei's abilities are extraordinary. Du is definitely not his match. However, Du is the personal disciple of the Vine Sovereign of the Western Tree Sea. Even the Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Northern Tree Sea, who live in seclusion, would have to be wary of him. With such a background, Du can do whatever he wants in the world. Who in the Northern Tree Sea would dare to hurt him? Today, Liu Bei has offended Du. It's better for me not to have anything to do with him anymore, so that I won't be implicated by him. Guang Hanzi sighed. Originally, he had sensed that Ningfan had a damaged ancient puppet, and wanted to exchange its fragments with him. Now that he found out that Ningfan had offended Du, he no longer dared to have a close relationship with Ningfan no matter what. Even though Guang Hanzi also had a grudge against Du in the past, it was just a trivial grudge. There was still room for reconciliation. If he still befriended Ningfan despite knowing that Du hated him, he would very likely offend Du to death. Guang Hanzi gritted his teeth and glanced at Ningfan from the corner of his eyes. Then he shook his head as if he had made up his mind. With a flash of traveling light, he actually appeared beside Du and smiled apologetically at him. Fei Hua Marquis, please calm down. I have nothing to do with this Liu Bei. He isn't a member of the Northern Tree Sea. Fei Hua Marquis, please don't hold a grudge against me because of this person. I'm innocent. Guang Hanzi's words were not only to draw a clear line between him and Ningfan, but also to express his goodwill to Du secretly. His words might seem unintentional, but he was actually pointing out Ningfan's name and background. He was trying to sell Ningfan's information to please Du. Du did not know much about Ningfan. When he heard Guang Hanzi's words, he immediately sneered. So this young man's name is Liu Bei and he isn't a member of the Northern Tree Sea. Du raised his head coldly and ordered Ningfan. Liu Bei is it? I will count to 3. If you still don't agree to be my slave, don't blame me for being merciless. Fei Hua Marquis is right. Fellow Taoist Liu, in my humble opinion, you should kowtow to Fei Hua Marquis and admit your mistake. There are some people in this world that you can't afford to offend. You need to understand this. Guang Hanzi actually spoke up for Du. Du sneered and began to count. 1, 2. Ningfan's eyes flashed with cold light. He did not expect that Guang Hanzi would sell his life and information to please Du. Fortunately, he did not have a deep relationship with Guang Hanzi. Thus, Guang Hanzi's action naturally could not be considered as betrayal. As for the name that Guang Hanzi revealed, it was just a fake name. Ningfan naturally did not care about it. The entire Guanghan city fell into dead silence. Many cultivators sighed inwardly. In their opinion, even if Ningfan was a Void Inquiry stage cultivator, he would still have to submit to power. Du was not scary, but the Vine Sovereign behind him was way too terrifying. In everyone's opinion, Ningfan certainly knew how difficult the path of cultivation was, and how precious longevity was since he could cultivate to the Void Inquiry stage. Naturally, he was a person who cherished his life and would eventually lower his head to Du. No one expected that at the moment when Du counted to 3, Ningfan suddenly took a step forward and pointed a finger at Du. He actually launched an attack at Du, trying to take his life. Little Void Sword. Ningfan's tone was indifferent. When he pointed his finger, millions of Void Sword shadows appeared in the sky and rained down on him like a dense rain. Under the attack of this dense rain of sword light, Du felt that he would certainly die. It was as if the person who attacked him was not Ning Fan, but an old monster of the absolute void stage. The power of Ning Fan's attack was even stronger than that of an ordinary absolute void stage cultivator. Du did not expect Ning Fan to be so strong. He also did not expect that Ning Fan was not afraid of the Vine Sovereign's reputation, and dared to attack him. If Du knew that Ning Fan was so lawless and powerful, he would definitely retreat immediately. Even if he wanted to take revenge on Ning Fan later, he would bring a large group of people and a few absolute void stage experts with him. Then he would come to take Ning Fan's life after making sure that everything was in place. Chi. As the dense rain of sword light rained down on Du, he hurriedly summoned his spiritual armor just as he was about to die. In a panic, he patted his storage pouch and took out a life-saving jade pendant. It was given to him by the Vine Sovereign. It could save his life once and defend against a void fragmentation realm attack. Du crushed the life-saving jade pendant. A green light screen slowly rose and formed a light cocoon, covering him within. Even though the millions of little void swords were powerful, they did not manage to destroy this green light cocoon. Du's heart shuddered when he managed to defend against Ning Fan's attack with the help of the jade pendant. At the same time, he crushed 13 jade slips to ask for help in case he chose a direction, and fled at top speed. At the moment when he crushed the 13 jade slips, 3 void fragmentation realm experts and 10 absolute void stage experts in the 500 cultivation countries of the North Tree Sea received the message that Du is in danger. All of them were enraged. How dare you? Du is the disciple of the Vine Sovereign. Who dares to hurt him? Du is of great use to the Vine Sovereign. If he dies, the Vine Sovereign will definitely blame us for not protecting him well. Let's go and save him quickly. All of a sudden, 13 peerless experts moved out at the same time and headed straight for the Earth Abyss Kingdom. They made up their minds. No matter who dares to provoke Du, they would kill him or her. Seeing Du crushing the jade slips and turning around to flee, Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He took a step forward and vanished without a trace. At the next moment, he directly appeared in front of Du. He raised his hand and pointed at Du again. The millions of little void swords flew towards Du like a whirlwind or a swarm of locusts. This time, Du no longer had his life-saving jade pendant. Looking at the millions of sword shadows, his heart was filled with despair. Then he actually begged Ning Fan for mercy. "Brother Lu, spare my life. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Today, I have offended Brother Lu. In the future, I will surely visit you to apologize for my mistake. Please spare my life, Brother Lu." Ning Fan did not utter a single word from the beginning to the end, letting the millions of void swords turn Du into a sieve. Then, he casually took out a heavenly dwelling treasure that looked like a cloth bag. He grabbed Du's corpse and threw it into it. From the moment Ning Fan attacked to the moment he killed Du, only a few breaths had passed. Guang Hanzi's face was already drained of blood because of Ning Fan. All the cultivators in the entire Guanghan city, be it the cultivators from their own country, or the cultivators from other countries, were deeply shocked. They knew that Ning Fan had already offended the Vine Sovereign of the West Forest Sea by killing Du. Ning Fan was basically a lawless devil lord. This person must never be provoked. Even if one has a powerful background, one would still die if they offend him. Fellow Taoist Lu. When he thought of how he had sided with Du and revealed Ning Fan's background, Guang Hanzi's heart turned cold. He did not know if Ning Fan would kill him for revenge. However, Ning Fan just gave Guang Hanzi a cold glance and asked coldly, "Do you know how to repair puppets?" It was as if as long as Guang Hanzi said no, Ning Fan would immediately kill him. "I know." Guang Hanzi gritted his teeth. Inwardly, he guessed that if he says no, Ning Fan would certainly turn him into ashes. "Since that's the case, come with me." Ning Fan indifferently raised a finger and pressed it down on Guang Hanzi. He was actually going to plant a mental seal on him and make him his slave. Guang Hanzi's face turned bitter. However, he did not dare to resist at all, and just let Ning Fan plant the mental seal on him. After that, Ning Fan kept Guang Hanzi into his heavenly dwelling pouch. He was actually going to kidnap him and help him repair his puppets. If Guang Hanzi did not court death, Ning Fan would at most kill Diyu and would not harm Guang Hanzi's life. Unfortunately, Guang Hanzi had betrayed Ning Fan to please Diyu. Ning Fan would certainly not show any mercy. The entire Guanghan city fell into dead silence. Ning Fan stood in midair and looked down at the vast cultivation city beneath his feet. Now that he had offended the Vine Sovereign, he probably would not be able to live a peaceful life in the tree world in the future. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to keep a low profile. There were 100,000 cultivation shops in this Guanghan city. There were quite a lot of good items. Ning Fan turned into a ray of traveling light and returned to the city. Before I leave this city, I might as well rob all the good items in this city. Chapter 563. Guang Hanzi was the largest trading city in the North Tree Sea. There were a total of 100,000 cultivation shops. The nominal lord of the city was Guang Hanzi. However, this city implicated the vital interests of dozens of Void Refinement Realm forces in the dark. Ning Fan killed Diyu in the city, kidnapped Guang Hanzi and plundered the entire city. In just one day, his name spread across the entire North Tree Sea. When the 13 Absolute Void Stage and Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters arrived at the city, Ning Fan was already gone. The entire city had been plundered clean. 3 days later, the Vine Sovereign of the West Tree Sea learned about Diyu's death. She was enraged and sent out countless experts to hunt Ning Fan down. 10 days later, Ning Fan's wanted posters were everywhere in the West Tree Sea and the North Tree Sea. Villain Liu Bei, a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator, killed the Vine Sovereign's disciple in the deep country of the North Tree Sea. The Vine Sovereign is furious. Whoever kills Liu Bei will be rewarded with 10 billion immortal jades and 10 bottles of 6th Revolution pills. The East Tree Sea and the South Tree Sea did not strictly put Ning Fan on the wanted list. It was probably because the Tree Sovereigns and the Vine Sovereign did not get along well. In the North Tree Sea, on a desolate mountain, Ning Fan held a wanted poster in his hand. His eyes turned cold. After plundering the city, he immediately left the city and went to dozens of cultivation countries to avoid the pursuit of countless experts. I didn't expect to be wanted by the Vine Sovereign of the West Tree Sea. If that's the case, it will be a little troublesome to sneak into the West Tree Sea. The Fire Tree Clan was located in the West Tree Sea. It was the place where Ning Fan planned to go. However, the West Tree Sea was the Vine Sovereign's territory. Now that Ning Fan killed Diyu and angered the Vine Sovereign, he would probably be hunted down by countless cultivators if he goes there. He could not go to the West Tree Sea, and the North Tree Sea was also very dangerous. Ning Fan plundered the city and plundered 20 billion immortal jades, countless spiritual herbs, magic treasures and cultivation methods. He even obtained 4 Void Refinement Realm Dao fruits. What he did also offended countless forces in the North Tree Sea. According to what he knew, there were countless forces in the 500-plus cultivation countries that wanted to kill him. It's not suitable to go to the West Tree Sea for now. I can stay in the tree world for 3 years. I can't stay in the Northern Tree Sea for a long time either. Currently, there are already 3 Void Fragmentation Realm experts chasing after me. It's really troublesome to offend the Vine Sovereign. However, so what if I offend her? Ning Fan's eyes were emotionless. Diyu was the one who came to seek death, so he naturally wouldn't regret killing someone. His thoughts raced. Since the Fire Tree Clan wasn't in a hurry to go, he could do other things first. When Ning Fan was ransacking Moon City, he had obtained a few hundred divine tree fruits. This fruit was very similar to the Divine Truth Stone. It had the effect of increasing one's intent realm. It was a special spirit fruit that grew in the Eastern Tree Sea of the Tree Realm. The Shunyi stone was a kind of mineral in the Rain Immortal world. It was not easy to form, and its quantity was limited. The Tree God fruit, on the other hand, was a type of spirit fruit. As long as one was willing to pay the price to cultivate it, they could have as many as they wanted. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He did not know how many Divine stones he would need to raise his Rain intent to the 1st grade. Even if all the Divine Strength stones in the entire Rain world were added up, it might not be enough for Ning Fan to break through to the 1st grade intent realm. But in the tree world, as long as he could get his hands on enough tree god fruits, it might not be impossible for him to attain a 1st grade intent realm. The tree god fruit was a specialty of the Eastern Tree Sea. If Ning Fan wants to obtain a large amount of tree god fruits, he might have to make a trip to the Eastern Tree Sea. The tree sovereign of the Southern Tree Sea was the willow sovereign. The tree sovereign of the Eastern Tree Sea was the bamboo sovereign. No matter what, I have to go to the Eastern Tree Sea at least once. However, before I leave, I can first repair my spiritual puppets, deal with my young body and my spoils of war. Ning Fan performed a hand seal and displayed an escape technique that he had obtained from Guanghan City. With escape technique, his body slowly sank into the mountain of trees. He waved his hand and struck out a sword light, opening up a massive space at the center of the mountain of trees. He then embedded many moonlight stones into the walls to illuminate the space. Immediately, he opened up a temporary cave abode. Then he patted his cloth pouch and released Guang Hanzi. It seemed like he had something to ask him. Guang Hanzi had already been planted with a mental seal by Ning Fan, and became his slave. He would never dare to betray him in this life. During the 10+ days that he was captured by Ning Fan, Guang Hanzi was filled with regret. He regretted why he betrayed Ning Fan and fawned on Diyu in the past, which led to the current disaster. A void glimpse stage city lord had now become someone else's slave. His ending was indeed rather tragic. Just as he was feeling sorry for himself, when he was suddenly released by Ning Fan, he immediately put away all of his expressions. He did not dare to show any hint of dissatisfaction as he was afraid of angering Ning Fan. Ning Fan's cold gaze swept across Guang Hanzi. Guang Hanzi's heart shuddered. He immediately rubbed his hands and smiled apologetically. Fellow Taoist Lu, no. It's time to call me master. I wonder what instructions do you have for me by summoning me out? I will certainly complete master's orders, even if I have to go through fire and water. This Guang Hanzi was a man who knew when to submit and when to submit. Even though he regretted being captured by Ning Fan, and did not dare to do so, he knew how to humble himself and become Ning Fan's slave respectfully. Guang Hanzi did not dare to be disrespectful. His eyesight was not weak. He could tell that Ning Fan was an unscrupulous devil lord. Even the reputation of the Vine Sovereign could not scare Ning Fan. Such a ferocious devil lord could kill him with just a thought. Guang Hanzi would never dare to offend him. Do you know why I spared your life? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Master, do you want me to repair your spiritual puppets? Guang Hanzi asked tentatively. That's right. I have 2 spiritual puppets here. If you can repair them, I will remove your mental restriction spell and set you free. If you can't repair them, Guang Hanzi could roughly guess the rest of Ning Fan's words. Immediately, he felt extremely nervous. He did not wish for Ning Fan to set him free. He only wished that Ning Fan would not kill him. And master, don't worry. I will definitely do my best to help you repair your spiritual puppets. Very good. The spiritual puppets are right here. See how confident you are in repairing them. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out countless puppet fragments. He divided them into 2 piles and placed them on the ground. One pile of puppet fragments exuded a dense fiery aura, while the other pile of puppet fragments had dense purple electric arcs flowing around it. These 2 piles of puppet fragments were none other than Jihua and Jidian. The moment the 2 piles of puppet fragments appeared, a vast puppet chi spread out, causing the entire tree mountain to tremble slightly. Guang Hanzi's eyes were filled with astonishment. The wooden token on his waist directly shattered. In the past, he had sensed that Ning Fan possessed spiritual puppets because of this wooden token. Today, this wooden token could not withstand the chi of the 2 spiritual puppets, and was destroyed just like that. Guang Hanzi's face turned pale with fright as he stared at the 2 piles of puppet fragments in front of him. He could not believe that Ning Fan's spiritual puppets were actually such terrifying things. Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. No. Not only that. These are Heavenly Tribulation puppets. He stared at Ning Fan with incomparable terror. Ning Fan had planted a restriction spell on these 2 spiritual puppets. Guang Hanzi certainly understood what it meant. He could not imagine that Ning Fan could actually capture a Heavenly Tribulation messenger and turn them into his spiritual puppets. This man is a madman. He is definitely a madman. He even dares to capture Heavenly Tribulation puppets. He even dares to defy the heavenly Tao. No wonder he is not afraid of the Vine Sovereign. This man is simply a lawless person. Besides, he can even capture Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. His abilities are definitely not simple. He is not an ordinary Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Absolutely not. Guang Hanzi's eyes were filled with astonishment while Ning Fan's eyes remained calm. How confident are you in repairing these two spiritual puppets? As soon as he heard Ning Fan's question, Guang Hanzi's heart skipped a beat. He regained his senses and carefully examined the two piles of puppet fragments again. He was a puppet master. In terms of puppetry techniques alone, he was already the best in the tree world. As long as he has enough materials, he could even create Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. However, it was his first time seeing Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. To be honest, he did not have the slightest confidence in repairing these two spiritual puppets. However, he naturally did not dare to tell Ning Fan about this. If he could not repair these two spiritual puppets, Ning Fan would definitely not let him off just because he had offended Ning Fan previously. I have half confidence in repairing these two spiritual puppets. Guang Hanzi lied. He raised his head and smiled apologetically. However, his eyes met Ning Fan's cold and sharp gaze. Lying to me isn't a wise choice. With Ning Fan's intelligence, he could tell that Guang Hanzi was lying from the changes in his expression. Guang Hanzi's lack of confidence in repairing these two spiritual puppets made Ning Fan feel slightly disappointed. However, it was also within his expectations. After all, Guang Hanzi was just a Void Glimpse stage cultivator. If he could repair Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets, it would be too heaven-defying. Since you can't repair these spiritual puppets then. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with indifference. He took a step forward and his killing intent surged. Guang Hanzi felt a chill down his spine. Even his knees were trembling. Who would be willing to die after reaching this level of cultivation? Guang Hanzi clenched his teeth. He was not willing to die. He was going to risk it all. Master, please calm down. It's true that I can't repair these two spiritual puppets. However, my master had once repaired Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. Oh, your master can repair Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets? Where is he? Can you bring me to see him? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. He stopped in his tracks and asked. My master is already dead. Guang Hanzi swallowed his saliva. As soon as he said that, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light again. Guang Hanzi was frightened. He immediately waved his hand and added. Even though my master is dead, he passed the method of repairing Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets to me. I don't have the confidence to repair Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. Firstly, it's because I have never tried it before. Secondly, it's because the materials needed to repair Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets are extremely rare and precious. If you have enough materials, how confident are you that you can repair these two spiritual puppets? 30%. Guang Hanzi learned his lesson, and no longer dared to lie. 30%, huh? Ning Fan nodded his head and revealed a satisfied look. With Guang Hanzi's cultivation base, it was already very rare for him to have a 30% chance of repairing the two puppets. Since Guang Hanzi could repair the spiritual puppets for him, it could be considered as him atoning for his mistake. Ning Fan would naturally forgive Guang Hanzi for offending him. Imprint the required materials on a jade slip and give it to me, Ning Fan ordered. Yes. I will imprint the jade slip right away. Guang Hanzi felt relieved inwardly. His face was filled with joy. Judging from Ning Fan's tone, he would not kill him for the time being. He immediately imprinted a jade slip and passed it to Ning Fan. Then he kept it into his heavenly dwelling pouch. After returning to his heavenly dwelling, Guang Hanzi heaved a deep sigh of relief. His face was filled with worry. Just by exchanging a few words with Ning Fan, his clothes were already soaked with cold sweat. Ning Fan is really too scary. Too scary. This person treats his enemies coldly, but he also seems to be a person who keeps his promises. I have offended him previously. Unless I help him repair the spiritual puppets, I will definitely die. However, if I can successfully repair the spiritual puppets, I might still have a chance of survival. Sigh. Hopefully, after I help him repair the spiritual puppets, he will show mercy and let me go. In the cave on the mountain, Ning Fan kept the puppet fragments. He held the jade slip in his hand and scanned through it with his spirit sense. Then he let out a soft sigh. The method to repair the spiritual puppets was recorded in the jade slip. It also recorded hundreds of types of precious spiritual ores and spiritual woods. All of them were required to repair the spiritual puppets. Among them there were 12 types of spiritual ores. Each of them was priced at more than 10 billion immortal jade. All of them were extremely precious items. Even though Ning Fan was not proficient in refining spiritual puppets, he knew a lot about them. He scanned through the jade slip and carefully considered the method of repairing the spiritual puppets recorded in it. After discovering that there were no mistakes in the method, he finally believed that Guang Hanzi had 30% confidence in repairing the Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. No wonder Guang Hanzi said that he had no confidence in repairing the spiritual puppets previously. The cost of repairing the 2 puppets requires at least 200 billion immortal jade. Immortal jade alone isn't enough. I still need to find those precious spiritual ores. With Guang Hanzi's cultivation base, he definitely won't be able to gather enough immortal jade to repair the spiritual puppets. Even for me, it won't be an easy task to gather such a huge amount of immortal jade and rare spiritual materials. Ning Fan withdrew his expression and his lips curved into a smile. In order to have a 30% chance of repairing the Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets, Ning Fan would gather all the materials no matter what. If he could afford it, he would buy it. If he couldn't, he would just rob it. After dealing with the spiritual puppets, Ning Fan entered the dark golden pagoda of the Yuan Yao world with a flash and began to refine all of his spoils of war. Improving his rain intent was very important. Repairing the spiritual puppets was very important. Increasing his cultivation base was also very important. Ning Fan took out the Divine Intent Stone and the Tree God Fruit and refined them one by one. After 10 years of seclusion on the 7th floor of the pagoda, his rain intent realm broke through to the 4th grade realm. He took out the 10 bottles of Mirage Sea pills that Chu Chang and gave him and consumed them one by one. He took out the mini 6th revolution pills and Void Refinement Realm Dao fruits that he plundered from the vast cold city and consumed them one by one. His magic power increased bit by bit. Another 20 years passed in the pagoda. Ning Fan's magic power had increased to 2 million units. He was still 800,000 units away from breaking through to the Void Pierce stage. He still had the Rogue Immortal Dao fruit that he had yet to consume. If he consumes it, it would probably be enough for him to break through to the Void Pierce stage in one go. It's time to prepare for breaking through to the Void Pierce stage. I wonder what kind of scale the heavenly tribulation of the Void Pierce stage this time will be. In order to be safe, I must repair my spiritual puppets before undergoing the tribulation. 30 years had passed on the 7th floor of the pagoda, but only 3 months had passed in the outside world. After his magic power increased, Ning Fan was not in a hurry to leave the pagoda. Instead, he took out Duyu's corpse. Duyu had the Scarlet Yang physique, which was one of the 7 Yang physiques. His flesh and blood contained a vast amount of Yang power. If he absorbs Duyu's Yang power, he would be able to complete the first Yang spirit of the Steel of Sun and Moon. At that time, Ning Fan would be able to use the Steel of Sun and Moon at will, and release a Void Fragmentation Realm attack to attack his enemies. Use the Yin Yang flame to refine Duyu's corpse. Incinerate his remains and refine his Yang spirit. Luo Yu reminded him in his mind. Ning Fan nodded his head and pointed a finger at Duyu's corpse. Duyu's corpse immediately flew up and floated in midair. Then Ning Fan opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of black flames, engulfing Duyu's corpse. In just an instant, Duyu's corpse turned into ashes and dissipated. All of his Scarlet Yang power remained in the black flames. Inside the black flames, the Scarlet Yang power slowly condensed into a 100 zhang large fiery red sun. As the black flames burned, the sun gradually shrunk. 100 zhang. 100 zhang. 3 qi. 2 cun. That scarlet yang power was eventually refined into a fiery red light ball that was 1 inch in size. The scarlet yang power inside the light ball was extremely pure. It could no longer be refined any further. Ningfan kept the black flames and beckoned with his palm, drawing the fiery red light ball into his palm. Immediately, he felt a scorching qi rushing towards his face. His eyes were calm. After a long time, he suddenly opened his mouth and swallowed the red light ball into his stomach. All of a sudden, Ningfan's body began to burn from the inside out as if it was burning. The scarlet yang power was really powerful. After refining it, even Ningfan's physical body could not withstand the scarlet yang qi. Ningfan consumed a healing pill and waved his palm to summon the 99 natal black stars. He quickly healed his injuries and suppressed the injuries of his body that were burning. At the same time, he quickly refined the scarlet yang power. In the profound Yin world, among the 7 sun-shaped grooves on the steel of sun and moon that had been standing since ancient times, the first groove was slowly filled with the scarlet yang spirit. At this moment, the first yang spirit and the first Yin spirit of the steel of sun and moon had been completed. At this moment, Ningfan could take out the steel of sun and moon from the profound Yin world with just a thought and launch a void fragmentation realm attack at any time. Not only that, after refining the scarlet yang power, Ningfan's body was suddenly surrounded by the scarlet yang power and the purple Yin power. The scarlet yang power came from Du while the purple Yin power came from Yuan Yao. Ningfan felt an unbearable burning pain on one half of his body while the other half of his body seemed to have fallen into an icy cold state and was slowly freezing. However, at the moment when the Yin and Yang power converged, his physical body suddenly shattered. At the next moment, his physical body was reconstructed under the combination of the Yin and Yang power. His physical body was broken and reconstructed again and again. In the past, Ningfan did not have any special physique. However, as his physical body was being reconstructed time and time again, traces of Yin and Yang power flowed into his body. At this moment, Ningfan could faintly feel that his physical body had gained another type of physique. The primordial spirit in his dantian had already turned half black and half white. It was extremely strange. This is the minor 5 elements physique. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu suddenly exclaimed. Even though she knew the method to merge the steel spirits of the steel of sun and moon, she had never really seen anyone merge the Yin and Yang steel spirits. Even Luo Yu did not know that after Ningfan merged the first Yin spirit and the Yang spirit of the steel of sun and moon, his physical body would actually be reconstructed, and a brand new physique would be born. This type of physique was called the minor 5 elements physique. It was somewhat similar to the inextinguishable fire body. The inextinguishable fire body could restrain fire, and so could the minor 5 elements constitution. In terms of defense against fire, the inextinguishable fire body was far superior to the minor 5 elements constitution. However, the owner of the lesser 5 elements constitution could not only restrain fire, but could also restrain the other 4 elements: metal, wood, water, and earth. The suppression of a single 5 elements was not high, but it was superior in suppressing all 5 elements. The indestructible fire body could not be upgraded, but in ancient times, there were ancient cultivators who cultivated the minor 5 elements body and evolved it into the major 5 elements body. The great 5 elements constitution's restraint towards the 5 elements was extremely heaven-defying. It was not something that the inextinguishable fire body could compare to. Could it be? The yin-yang steel spirit that fused with the steel of sun and moon could not only increase the power of the magical treasure, but also improve the physique of the cultivator. If that's the case, you might be able to upgrade your minor 5 elements constitution to the major 5 elements constitution by gathering the yin-yang monument spirits. Luo Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with emotion. I didn't expect that by collecting the spirit of the steel of sun and moon, one could actually form a constitution. Little 5 elements constitution, right? Ningfan revealed a thoughtful expression. After a long time, he suddenly swept his dantian with his spirit sense towards the yin-yang locket. Only then did he notice that the small jade lock had undergone some subtle changes. It was not that his appearance had changed, but his connection with Ningfan had become closer. Ningfan seemed to have sensed something. He suddenly rose to his feet and left the Yuan Yao world, directly entering the profound Yin world. Standing in the profound Yin world, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head and saw a crescent moon that was half black and half white appearing out of nowhere in the hazy sky. There was originally nothing in the profound Yin world, but now there was a moon. After the moon appeared, the Yin Qi in the profound Yin world became denser, and the cultivation speed increased slightly. But the biggest change was the change in the time lag. Ning Fan could faintly sense that in the past, he could only stay in the profound Yin world for 3 days at most. Now he could stay for at least a month at a time. A month of cultivation in the profound Yin world was equivalent to 10 years of cultivation in the outside world. The steel of sun and moon has a total of 7 sockets for the Yin soul and Yang soul. If all of them are filled, not only will you be able to cultivate an astonishing physique, you will also be able to control the profound Yin world as you please. The immortal emperor treasure left by great emperor Ancient Chaos is truly incredible. Luo Yu walked out of the thatched cottage step by step, and stepped on the hazy sky, slowly walking towards Ning Fan. Her eyes were filled with envy. It seems like you need to find the second Yang soul as soon as possible. My physique is the Yin soul physique. If you devour the second Yang soul and break through to the void fragmentation realm, you can rescue me from the profound Yin world and help me reconstruct my physical body. When that time comes, you and I will have dual cultivation. You will be able to gather the second Yin soul and Yang soul. Someone is looking for you outside the tree mountain. Luo Yu was stunned all of a sudden. Her beautiful eyes turned slightly cold. She sensed that there were a few absolute void stage old monsters following Ning Fan's footsteps beside the tree mountain in the outside world. These people are probably sent by the Vine Sovereign. Do I need you to help me deal with them? No need. You just have a good rest. You don't have to do anything for the time being. A few absolute void stage old monsters are nothing to be afraid of. Ning Fan reached out his hand to touch the side of Luo Yu's face. However, Luo Yu gently avoided his touch. Her pretty face turned slightly red. Ning Fan gave her a deep look. With a faint smile on his face, his figure flashed and went out of the profound Yin world, appearing on the tree mountain in the outside world. The moment he appeared, 4 rays of extremely sharp killing intent immediately locked onto him. That Liu Bei is really here. He is in the belly of the mountain. Break the tree mountain and kill him to avenge our young lord. Chapter 564. The mountain was surrounded by 480,000 zhang tall tree devils. One of them had a tree crown on his head, another was clad in rattan armor, one had wooden wings and the last one had 1,000 wooden arms. The moment Ning Fan appeared on the mountain, the 4 giants roared angrily and waved their fists at the mountain. The 4 giants were all at the absolute void stage. When the 4 of them attacked together, the mountain immediately collapsed. The ground within hundreds of thousands of li collapsed by 3 zhang. Ning Fan, who was dressed in white, slowly emerged from the dust. He was actually unharmed by the 4 giants' attacks. Are you the subordinates of the Vine Sovereign? Ning Fan's tone was extremely indifferent. The 4 giants did not even look at Ning Fan. They just looked at each other and smiled disdainfully. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. A mere void inquiry stage junior dares to offend the Vine Sovereign? He's really courting death. This young man is Liu Bei. Kill him. There's no need to hold back. The 4 of them used their own techniques. The giant with the tree crown shook its crown and countless leaves fell from the sky. Hundreds of millions of leaves instantly condensed into a massive wooden dragon and rushed at Ning Fan, shattering the vast sky. The rattan armored giant held a pair of giant hammers while the wooden winged giant held a pair of halberds. Both of them were massive immemorial divine weapons. As for the giant who had 1,000 arms, he performed a hand seal. All of a sudden, countless gigantic wooden hands emerged from the ground and slapped at Ning Fan. The 4 of them did not show any mercy. Once they locked onto Ning Fan, they immediately launched a fatal attack. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He did not know how the subordinates of the Vine Sovereign found his hiding place. However, no matter what, he would not let anyone bully him without retaliating. He opened his mouth and breathed out black flames. In just an instant, The black flames turned into a sea of fire, and turned into 9 enormous black dragons. 3 of them were the wooden dragons that burned the sky, while the other 6 were the wooden arms that burned the earth. The black flames were extremely powerful. In just an instant, they burned the wooden dragons and wooden arms to ashes and destroyed the attacks of the giant with the tree crown and the 1,000 arms giant. The tree crown and the 1,000 arms giant were shocked. They did not expect that a mere void inquiry stage ant like Ningfan would actually possess such powerful black flames that could block the attacks of 2 absolute void stage experts. What level of flame is this? It can actually burn our peak mortal void magic techniques. After spitting out the black flames, Ningfan suddenly raised his right arm without turning his head back, and stared coldly at the attacks from the rattan armor and the wood-winged giant's divine weapons. Layers of brilliance appeared on his right arm, and a silver armor appeared. A white tiger's shadow appeared on his arm, and the tiger's roar was like thunder. This was a mysterious god's spiritual equipment that Yu Chong had gifted to him. Even though Ningfan had already refined it a long time ago, today was his first time using it in actual combat. The white tiger was in charge of killing. This god mystic armor came with a mortal void body technique. The more the wielder killed, the higher the baleful aura, and the more powerful the spiritual equipment would be. The baleful chi in Ningfan's eyes was as red as blood. All the killings he had accumulated in his life were condensed in his right arm. He took half a step back, then suddenly rushed forward, turning into a stream of light that soared into the sky, facing the giant hammer and halberd with his fist. Void technique, white tiger. As soon as the punch was thrown, it immediately emitted a raging wave of fist light. The fist light condensed into the shadow of a white tiger fist. When the fist shadow collided with the 2 immemorial divine weapons, it shook violently and gave off a loud bang. In the loud bang, Ningfan was sent flying 100 li away by the rebounding force. As for the rattan armor, the wood-winged giant's giant hammer and halberd, they were all smashed into pieces by the force of Ningfan's punch. Ningfan's cultivation base was at the mid-reckless devil realm, and he was not far away from the late reckless devil realm. His physical body could easily defeat anyone at the 3rd level of the golden body refining realm. After equipping the white tiger armor, even absolute void stage cultivators would not dare to take a punch from him casually. The immemorial divine weapons of the 2 giants were just 1-star divine weapons. How could they withstand Ningfan's white tiger armor? Both of the giants' divine weapons were destroyed. They were also sent flying 100 li away by the rebounding force. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. It's the mysterious god armor. This young man's physical body is extremely strong. After equipping the mysterious god armor, he can fight against absolute void stage cultivators with his physical body alone. As soon as Ningfan appeared, the 4 of them launched their attacks together. However, the joint attack of 4 absolute void stage cultivators could not hurt Ningfan at all. This really shocked the 4 of them. They immediately dispelled their underestimation of Ningfan and realized that he was a ruthless character. Even though this young man's cultivation base is just at the void inquiry stage, his abilities are shocking. His combat power is comparable to an absolute void stage cultivator's. He must not be underestimated. Form the 4-directional tree annihilation formation. Once we form this formation, even a grand void stage cultivator will certainly die in our hands. Ningfan's eyes narrowed slightly. The 4 absolute void giants in front of him were definitely not weak. If he does not use his trump cards, it would be very difficult for him to win. With just a sweep of his spirit sense, he could already distinguish the strengths of the 4 of them. Among the 4 giants, Qianshou was the strongest while Xu Guan was the weakest. Both of them were experts in magic attacks. As for the wood-winged giant and the rattan armored giant, their strength was ranked in the middle. Both of them were experts in body techniques. Even though he used the yin-yang flame and the mysterious god armor to block the attacks of the 4 giants, he still did not gain any advantage. The 4 of them had already realized how strong he was. Their next attacks would certainly be even fiercer. They had already begun to form a grand formation to besiege him. Ningfan knew that he must end the battle as soon as possible. Only by breaking the formation of the four of them could he counterattack. I'll kill one of them first. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan's body swayed, and he turned into his incarnation in black robes. His 5 fingers clawed at the ground and then at the hollow space. He extracted the Great Earth Soul, and the Void Soul one after another, and swallowed them. Ning Fan's spirit sense had already reached the absolute void stage. After transforming into his sense soul incarnation, his cultivation base had already reached the absolute void stage. After extracting the Great Earth Soul and the Void Soul, his cultivation base continued to skyrocket. It was already infinitely close to the Grand Void stage. His black hair danced wildly in the air. His eyes were as cold as ice that would never melt for 10,000 years. He raised one of his hands and a 10,000 zhang large fire steel suddenly appeared above his palm. This fire steel was not an illusion. Instead, it was a magic treasure that truly existed. It was the treasure that had existed in the profound Yin world since ancient times. The steel of sun and moon. The 4 giants were still forming the formation. When they saw Ning Fan suddenly transforming into his incarnation and extracting the Void Soul, all of them were dumbfounded. Incarnation technique. Soul extraction technique. These 2 techniques are the 3 void fragmentation realm divine abilities. How can a mere void inquiry stage expert use them? What kind of incarnation is this? It can actually allow a void inquiry stage expert to possess absolute void stage magic power. Extracting the Void Soul. This is the 2nd level of the soul extraction technique. Only the 3 tree sovereigns in the entire tree world know how to use it. Why does this young man know how to use it? What kind of magic treasure is this fire steel? It actually gave me such a strong sense of crisis. There was no answer. Why did he need to answer? Killing intent flashed across Ning Fan's eyes. He suddenly pushed out his palm and summoned the 10,000 zhang fire steel. The fire steel disappeared in an instant. At the next moment, it appeared 10,000 zhang above the tree crown giant's head. It turned into a 10,000 zhang tall flaming steel that was half white and half white. Then, it suddenly smashed down on the tree crown giant's head. The power of this fire steel was obviously equivalent to a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm attack. Ning Fan's attack was too fast. It was so fast that the other 3 giants could not save the tree crown giant at all. When the 3 of them sensed the terrifying power of the steel's attack, their expressions changed drastically. They quickly reminded the tree crown giant. Retreat quickly. You can't fight this steel head-on. The tree crown giant was an absolute void stage expert after all. His eyesight was not weak. He naturally knew that the power of this steel was terrifying, and it was not something he could withstand. He opened his mouth and spat out an emerald green pearl at the fire steel. At the same time he flew backward, trying to avoid the sharpness of the steel's attack. That emerald green pearl was extremely extraordinary. It was the natal magic treasure that the tree crown giant had refined for many years. Once it attacks, it would produce the sound of mountains and rivers. When the pearl collided with the fire steel, it was instantly turned into ashes by the fire steel. That fire steel did not lose its momentum. It continued to smash toward the tree crown giant's head. The tree crown giant's eyes were filled with astonishment. He suddenly shook his body and used a teleportation technique to teleport himself to a faraway place. That fire steel also disappeared in an instant. When the tree crown giant appeared in the distance, the fire steel also appeared in the distance. It was still hovering above the tree crown giant's head, and was smashing down. I can't avoid it. At this moment, the tree crown giant was a little frightened. If this fire steel was only powerful, he would not be afraid. Even if he could not withstand it, he could still dodge it. However, at this moment he suddenly realized that this fire steel had the ability to track its target. Once it locks onto its target, the enemy would not be able to escape from its attack no matter where they run to. Boom! The fire steel suddenly smashed onto the tree crown giant's head. The steel contained a wisp of yin-yang energy. Although it was only a wisp of yin-yang energy, it seemed to be heavier than the sky of the tree world. The tree crown giant's head was instantly shattered. A wisp of his primordial spirit escaped from his dantian in a panic. Under the huge steel, The 80,000 feet tall tree crown giant's physical body was crushed under the huge steel and turned into a pile of meat paste. The entire ground shook violently. In the distance, the three giants, including Vine Armor, Mu-Yi and Thousand Arms, were all shocked. At the critical moment, the tree crown giant's primordial spirit escaped from his physical body and avoided certain death. His tiny primordial spirit escaped to the other three giants. He was barely breathing. Although he managed to escape, he did not feel happy at all. His eyes were only filled with fear. That fire steel was too terrifying. It destroyed his physical body with a single attack, causing his teeth to tremble uncontrollably. If his primordial spirit was a little slower, even his primordial spirit would have died under the fire steel and turned into a pile of meat paste. This young man's magic treasure is powerful. Take the treasure destruction formation plate that the Vine Sovereign gave us and set up the treasure destruction grand formation to stop him from using his magic treasure. The Thousand Arms giant reminded. Upon hearing his words, Vine Armor and Mu-Yi each took out a formation plate and activated it. The surrounding 100,000 li was immediately covered by layers of faint green formation light. It was the treasure destruction formation light. It was a low-grade immortal void realm magic treasure. Even ordinary void fragmentation realm magic treasures would not be able to be activated in the formation light. This was the trump card that the Vine Sovereign gave to the four of them. It was the perfect counter to those cultivators who possessed heaven-defying magic treasures. Ning Fan bent his palm, and the fire steel disappeared from afar. It returned to its original size of 10,000 zhang and landed on his palm. He was still holding the sky with one hand. His chi was a little chaotic. The attack of the steel of sun and moon was indeed extraordinary. It destroyed the physical body of the tree crown giant with just a single attack. He knew that it was his first time using the one spirit steel of sun and moon. He was not familiar with the technique yet, and he had yet to display the true abilities of the steel. Otherwise, it was impossible for the tree crown giant's primordial spirit to escape. His primordial spirit would certainly be destroyed by the steel. Moreover, the amount of magic power that the steel of sun and moon consumed was not small. Just a single attack had consumed nearly 10 million units of magic power. After Ning Fan transformed his incarnation and extracted the void soul, his magic power was only around 30 million units. In other words, Ning Fan could only use the steel of sun and moon 3 times at most in his current state. We have already activated the treasure destruction formation. Your fire steel magic treasure can no longer be used. The vine-armored giant sneered. You destroyed my physical body. When I capture you, I will certainly grind your bones into ashes and dismember your body into a million pieces. The primordial spirit of the tree crown giant snorted coldly. Ning Fan held the steel with one hand and stood in the middle of the formation light. He could feel waves of suppressive force from the formation light. That suppressive force was trying to suppress the power of the steel of sun and moon and prevent it from being used. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He did not expect that the 4 giants would actually have such a powerful treasure destruction formation disc. Initially, he thought that the steel of sun and moon could no longer be used in the formation light. However, his eyes suddenly widened. Ning Fan could feel that the power of the steel of sun and moon in his palm was not suppressed by the formation light at all. Thoughts raced in his mind. In just a moment, he understood the vastness of the situation. Currently, the steel of sun and moon had just completed its first yin spirit and yang spirit. It was just equivalent to a void fragmentation realm magic treasure, which could unleash a void fragmentation realm attack. However, the true grade of this treasure was definitely not just a void fragmentation realm magic treasure. It was an immortal emperor magic treasure. It was the magic treasure that great Emperor Ancient Chaos once used in the past. How strong was it? How could it be suppressed by the Treasure Destruction Grand Formation? The Treasure Destruction Grand Formation could destroy Void Fragmentation Realm magic treasures, but it could not destroy Immortal Emperor magic treasures even if they had yet to unleash their full power. Ning Fan took a step forward and abruptly took out the steel of sun and moon. Both of his hands moved rapidly with the shadows of his fingers, forming hand seals. He had yet to display the true ability of the one spirit steel of sun and moon just now. Now he was going to use it. The steel of sun and moon flashed and disappeared. In another flash, it had already appeared above the vine-armored giant. It grew to 100,000 zhang in size, and was about to smash the top of the giant's head. Seeing the steel of sun and moon coming at them, the vine-armored giant and the others showed a disapproving expression. From their point of view, the immortal void-grade treasure destruction grand formation had already been activated. No magic treasures could be used inside the formation, and this steel of sun and moon was no exception. The power of this treasure has already been suppressed. Yet this young man still wants to use this treasure to attack. How foolish. Fine. I will take this treasure away now and offer it to Lord Vine Sovereign. This treasure is quite mysterious. I'm sure Lord Vine Sovereign will like it very much. You guys don't have to help me. I alone am enough to take this fire steel away. The vine-armored giant took a huge step forward and faced the steel of sun and moon head-on. At the same time, he raised his hand to stop the few people behind him who were eager to help him. He signaled them not to take action. He alone was enough. He was fully confident that he could take away the steel of sun and moon without anyone's help. His surname was also Tung, and he was a member of the Vine Sovereign's clan. Even though his cultivation base was not the highest among the four of them, his words carried a lot of weight. When the others saw his reaction, they quickly dismissed the idea of helping the vine-armored giant. From their point of view, with the vine-armored giant's absolute void stage cultivation base, taking away a fire steel which had lost all of its power was really a piece of cake. Taking away the steel of sun and moon was a meritorious deed. However, if the vine-armored giant wanted to take all the credit for himself, the others naturally would not dare to snatch it away. Ning Fan glanced at the direction of the vine-armored giant. His killing intent had already been triggered. The shadows of his fingers danced in the air as he performed a mysterious hand seal. The steel of sun and moon that was moving rapidly in the sky immediately gave off a strange halo. It was as dazzling as the sun, and as hazy as the moonlight. As the sun and the moon shone, a wave of yin and yang power blended together, producing the sound of the great Tao. All of a sudden, a vast aura force spread out from the steel of sun and moon. The light of the treasure-destroying formation within 100,000 li suddenly trembled and shattered. The vine-armored giant's eyes turned cold. Only then did he realize that the power of the steel of sun and moon was not sealed by the grand formation at all. This grand formation actually could not seal the steel of sun and moon. Instead, the light of the formation was destroyed by the aura force of the magic treasure. Impossible. The treasure-destroying grand formation can even seal a low-grade immortal void realm magic treasure. What grade of magic treasure is this fire steel? It can actually ignore the seal and shatter the light of the treasure-destroying formation. The vine-armored giant was greatly shocked. However, he also knew how powerful the steel of sun and moon was. Even the tree crown giant's physical body was destroyed by a single steel. Naturally, he would not end up well either. Now that the steel of sun and moon was not sealed, he naturally did not dare to face it alone. He opened his mouth and spat out a small shield of green light, trying to block the attack of the steel of sun and moon. Immediately after that, he retreated in an attempt to avoid the attack of the steel of sun and moon. I was too careless. He gritted his teeth. If he knew that the steel of sun and moon was not sealed, he would certainly not be so arrogant as to face it alone. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly felt that everything had stopped. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes were as bright as the sun and moon. First spirit steel technique, sun sinking and moon falling. As soon as Ning Fan uttered those words, the steel of sun and moon immediately let out a loud rumbling sound. It was as if the stars had changed their trajectories and the great Tao had changed, causing the mountains and rivers within the radius of 100,000 li to tremble. Each shadow of the steel of sun and moon was divided into 10 and 10 into 100. Half of the shadows of the 100 Tao steel turned into a falling sun while the other half turned into a falling moon. 50 gigantic burning suns and 50 gigantic cold moons crashed towards the vine-armored giant at the same time. A sense of impending death rose in the heart of the vine-armored giant. After the attack of the steel of sun and moon was divided into the shadows of the sun and moon, Its destructive power was already infinitely close to that of a second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm attack. Not good. I can't avoid it. The vine-armored giant cried out in shock. At the next moment, his voice was drowned by the deafening sound of the falling sun and moon. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sun and moon fell and heaven and earth turned upside down. Even though the attack was aimed at the vine-armored giant, the other 3 experts were also affected. The smoke and dust gradually dispersed, revealing the ruins of 100,000 li. The area of 100,000 li was flattened by the steel of sun and moon. As for the vine-armored giant who was arrogant earlier, he had already been smashed into meat paste by the steel of sun and moon. Both Qian Shou and Mu Yi were affected by the attack. Each of them suffered some light injuries. After witnessing the terrifying destructive power of the steel of sun and moon, each of them was filled with fear. As for the primordial spirit of the giant with the tree crown, it was already on the verge of death. Now that it was affected by the attack of the steel of sun and moon, it also perished in the aftermath of the attack. A single attack had killed 2 absolute void stage experts. Qian Shou and Mu Yi's eyes were filled with deep fear when they looked at Ning Fan. This treasure is too powerful. It's hard for us to resist it. Only good Yuan Taishu can take down Liu Bei. We must run. The 2 of us must run. The 2 of them flashed and got out of the giant's body. Then they turned into 2 rays of green light and fled into the distance recklessly. They were frightened by the attack of the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan's black robes fluttered in the wind. His eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. Don't you think it's a little too late to run now? He suddenly patted his storage pouch and took out the ancient golden sword. Then he scattered some immortal jades to activate it. With a wave of his hand, he kept the tree crown and the vine-armored giant's storage pouch. Then he stepped on the ancient sword and carried the giant steel, chasing after them all the way. Neither of them should even think about escaping. Chapter 565. When Qian Shou and Mu Yi saw Ning Fan chasing after them, they exchanged glances with each other and gritted their teeth. Then they ran in different directions. They knew that they were not Ning Fan's match. If he catches up to them, they would certainly die. At this moment, the 2 of them could only bet on their luck to see who Ning Fan would chase after. Whoever he chases would die. The one who dies could only be said to have bad luck. Running in different directions, huh? Ning Fan opened his sword pouch. 5 rays of sword light immediately flew out of the pouch and turned into 5 agile little sword spirits. Their opponents were absolute void stage cultivators. If they run in different directions, Ning Fan could only chase after one of them at most. He could not care less about the other one. You guys go after the winged one. I will go after the 8-armed one. He gave an indifferent order and immediately stepped on his ancient golden sword, chasing after Qian Shou. The 5 sword spirits pouted their lips. They were unwilling to be Ning Fan's hired thugs. However, the 5 of them had the life and death restriction on their bodies. They could not disobey Ning Fan's order at all. They snorted a few times in dissatisfaction, and obediently turned into 5 rays of sword light, chasing after Mu Yi. Even though Mu Yi was not a sword cultivator, the strength of the 5 little girls was already very heaven-defying. Each of them was comparable to an absolute void stage cultivator. It would not be difficult for the 5 of them to chase after an absolute void stage cultivator. Qian Shou had already left his giant Dharma image and turned into an 8-armed old man. After separating from Mu Yi, he fled desperately. Sensing that the golden sword light was getting closer to him, Qian Shou was almost scared to death. Why? Why is this malefic star chasing after me instead of Mu Yi? On the other side, Mu Yi also left his giant Dharma image and turned into an old man with wings. When he noticed that Ning Fan was chasing after Qian Shou, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that he had escaped death. He did not expect that there would be 5 rays of sword light chasing after him instead of Ning Fan. When he turned around and saw the 5 rays of sword light, his expression immediately turned pale with fright. These are sword spirits. Sword spirits of immortal swords. Each of them is comparable to an absolute void stage cultivator. I'm actually being chased by 5 absolute void stage cultivators. Mu-yi was extremely shocked. He was affected by the attack of the steel of sun and moon and suffered serious injuries. If he fights the 5 absolute void sword spirits alone, he would certainly die. The 5 sword spirits were extremely fast. In just over 10 breaths, they had caught up to Mu-yi. Mu-yi gritted his teeth and stroked the thumb ring magic treasure between his fingers. It was a damaged small Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure that he had bought at an auction for 5 billion immortal jade. This minor Kiliacosm treasure was a damaged item. It could still be used once more to open a minor Kiliacosm. Once it was opened, the wooden wing would hide in the small Kiliacosm. The boundary treasure would be destroyed, and the exit would be closed forever. The wooden wing would never be able to leave this small Kiliacosm. At this moment, Woodwing only had 2 choices. First, he fought with the 5 great void sword spirits and was killed by them. The second was to open a broken minor Kiliacosm and hide in it. Although they would never be able to leave, they would be able to avoid this calamity. Feeling the unstoppable momentum of the 5 sword spirits, Mu-yi gritted his teeth and steeled his heart to open the small Kiliacosm broken. Even if I'm trapped in this broken world for the rest of my life, it's still better than being killed by these 5 sword spirits. As long as I enter the small Kiliacosm, even void fragmentation realm cultivators won't be able to come in and kill me easily. Chi. A ray of light was emitted from the ring. Mu-yi shook his body and went into the broken world, vanishing on the spot. He ran away. Where did he go? The 3rd sword spirit, Shui, revealed a surprised expression. He hid in the space of the magic treasure. Humph. It's just a small Kiliacosm. It's so weak. The 2nd sword spirit, Momo's big eyes flashed with golden light. She seemed to have seen through the small Kiliacosm and saw Mu-yi who was hiding inside. Hua, open the sword door. Let's kill our way in and let him know how powerful our sisters are. The 1st sword spirit, Jingjing, ordered. Tong, I'll set up the formation. You open the door. As soon as the 4th sword spirit, Hua, finished speaking, she performed a hand seal and a huge sword diagram and sword formation appeared in the sky. Ow. Alright. The 5th sword spirit, Tong, nodded her head and stood on the sword diagram. With a shake of her body turned into an earthy yellow light door. Let's go in. The other 4 sword spirits entered the light door and directly appeared in the small Kiliacosm, almost scaring Mu-yi to death. Mu-yi did not expect that the 5 sword spirits who were chasing after him were actually so powerful that they could directly enter the small Kiliacosm of others. Even void fragmentation realm experts might not necessarily be able to do such a thing. A moment later, a miserable shriek reverberated in the small Kiliacosm for a long time. It was Mu-yi's voice. On the other side, Ningfan stepped on a golden sword light and caught up to Qianshou in just 10 breaths' time. Qianshou's face was filled with panic. He knew that it was difficult for him to escape anymore. Thus he stopped moving and no longer tried to escape. He took a deep breath and turned his head to look at Ningfan. Ningfan also stopped moving and looked at Qianshou calmly. If you don't kill me, I'm willing to give you my entire life's fortune. Qianshou untied the storage pouch on his waist and begged for mercy. If you die, all your belongings will naturally be mine. Ningfan said mercilessly. Don't force me. If you force me again, I will risk my life and perish together with you. Liu Bei, don't go too far. Qianshou's expression turned ferocious. Ningfan, however, did not say anything else. He directly raised his hand and took out the steel of sun and moon, striking it at Qianshou. First spirit steel technique, sun sinking moon falling. The shadow of the steel split into 10, and then into 100. In an instant, it turned into 50 gigantic suns and cold moons that fell from the sky like a meteor shower. Qianshou looked at the countless suns and moons falling from above his head. He knew that he would not be able to escape death. He stared at Ningfan with resentment. His eyes gradually turned crazy. You forced me to do this. Qianshou's 8 arms performed hand seals at the same time. His body gave off monstrous wood elemental magic power. His aura force became stronger and stronger. rising all the way from the Great Void Realm to the returning origin Great Void Realm. However, his body became drier and drier. His flesh and blood were disappearing at a rapid speed. It was extremely strange. He was using his life to cast the last magic technique. He wanted to perish together with Ningfan with this magic technique. The dark green leaves in front of him flew in all directions and gradually condensed into a gigantic wooden statue of 1,000 hands Arhut. Each of the 1,000 arms of the 1,000 hands Arhut was holding a one-star immemorial divine weapon. He chanted the name of Buddha. His body shone with golden light, and countless Sanskrit chants echoed in the surroundings. As the 1,000 hands Arhut art changed, the 1,000 hands Arhut immediately threw out 1,000 immemorial divine weapons towards the steel of sun and moon. 1,000 hands Arhut art. Qianshou revealed a frenzied expression. This was his strongest technique. Once he uses this technique, he would certainly die. However, the destructive power of this technique was comparable to a void fragmentation realm attack. Even the returning origin Great Void Realm would certainly be injured if not killed by this attack. Rumble. 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 100 gigantic suns and moons collided with 1,000 immemorial divine weapons. Destructive energy waves swept across the area. The surrounding area of several 100,000 li was filled with a sea of towering ancient trees. As the energy waves spread out, all the ancient trees turned into ashes and disappeared. Countless rifts appeared on the ground and lava flowed everywhere. The space in the sky shattered, revealing the dark and gloomy hollow space below. The shadows of the divine weapons shattered one after another while the gigantic suns and moons exploded. Ningfan quietly stared at the collision of magic treasures. Gradually, all of the opponent's immemorial divine weapons were destroyed. However, there were still a few dozens of suns and moons that were created by the steel of sun and moon. All of them continued to fly towards Qianshou, who was on the verge of death. This time, Ningfan was the winner of the collision of magic treasures. Qianshou raised his head reluctantly and stared at the gigantic suns and moons that were falling towards his head. He did not use any magic power to escape. He had already used his strongest secret technique. He would certainly die. His biggest regret was that he did not drag Ningfan to death with him. What he regretted the most was why he chased after Ningfan and got himself killed. Liu Bei. It's too early for you to be pleased with yourself. The four of us are not the only ones who are chasing after you in the Northern Tree Ocean. There are 9 other experts. Among them, 3 of them are Void Fragmentation Realm experts while the other 6 are Primordial Great Void Stage experts. If you run into their hands, you will certainly die. Rumble. Qianshou's fearful roar was drowned by the attacks of the suns and moons. He could no longer hear it clearly. The magic energy waves gradually dispersed. Their surroundings were filled with ruins and desolate hills that were tens of thousands of meters tall. Ningfan raised his hand and kept the steel of sun and moon into his profound Yin world. Then he took away Qianshou's broken storage pouch from the ruins and accurately located his half-dead primordial spirit. Then he performed a soul-searching technique on it. After that, he swallowed his broken primordial spirit into his stomach. His eyes were filled with baleful qi that could not be erased. His body was also emitting intense baleful qi. Since he had killed 3 great void stage cultivators in a row, the sins he had committed were naturally extremely heavy. As for the 4th great void stage cultivator, he probably wouldn't be able to survive either. It wouldn't take long for the 5 little sword spirits to return. He stepped on the ancient sword and returned along the path he came from. His eyes briefly scanned the storage pouches of the 3 great void stage cultivators, and his eyes revealed a look of realization. It was no wonder that the Vine Sovereign's subordinates could still find me even though I was hiding in such a secluded mountain. From Qianshou's memory, he learned that each of the great void stage cultivators who came after him this time had a copper mirror magic treasure. The grade of this magic treasure was not high, but it had a special function. Among the subordinates of the Vine Sovereign in the Western Tree Ocean, those who had a certain status would be rewarded with a vine seed by the Vine Sovereign. Once this vine seed is planted in one's body, it would be very difficult to erase it. The Vine Sovereign could always know the location of her subordinates. If a cultivator with a vine seed is killed, the vine seed in his body would be transferred to the killer's body. From then on, the Vine Sovereign and her subordinates would be able to find out his whereabouts easily. Ning Fan looked inside his body and carefully searched through his body. After searching for a while, he really found dozens of vine seeds in his body. This was the reason why his whereabouts were discovered. The so-called vine seeds were the magic power seeds that the Vine Sovereign condensed. They were extremely tiny. The dozens of vine seeds combined were not even as big as a speck of dust. These vine seeds are so tiny. Even if I don't pay attention to them, it would be hard for me to notice the existence of vine seeds in my body. If I want to kill the Vine Sovereign in the future, I will have to get rid of the vine seeds in my body. Ning Fan activated his black flames and burned away all the vine seeds. In this way, it would be difficult for the Vine Sovereign's subordinates to find his whereabouts. In the distance, 5 sword spirits were carrying a heavy storage pouch and slowly flying towards Ning Fan. Even though they had completed the task that Ning Fan gave them, they were still a little unwilling to be ordered around by him. Each of them raised their small faces angrily, as if being Ning Fan's sword spirits was a very depressing thing. Humph! That detestable little Fan. Sisters, you have already completed your task gloriously. Can you take a rest now? Ning Fan could not help but laugh when he heard their words. In the past, when Lu Yu took in these sword spirits, he was called Little Foolish by them. Now that it was his turn, he became Little Fan. So be it. Ning Fan was too lazy to argue with these 5 little girls over such a trivial matter. He took away Mu Yi's storage pouch and kept the 5 sword spirits into his sword pouch. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the jade slip that contained the map of the Northern Tree Sea. After scanning it with his spirit sense, he fell into silence. After a while, he kept the jade slip and stepped on the ancient golden sword, flying towards the southeast. He did not want to stay in the Northern Tree Sea for a long time. It was better for him to go to the Eastern Tree Sea to search for the tree god fruits and the materials to repair his spiritual puppets. Now that he had destroyed all the vine seeds in his body, it would be difficult for the Vine Sovereign's subordinates to find him in this vast world. Especially after he entered the Eastern Tree Sea, which was the Bamboo Sovereign's territory. The Vine Sovereign's subordinates would not be able to reach him. So what if it's the Vine Sovereign? Ning Fan's eyes were calm. Even though he was not a match for the Vine Sovereign, his current strength was more than enough to protect himself even if he were to run amok in the tree world. In the Northern Tree Sea, 9 old monsters were flying towards Ning Fan's direction in a ray of traveling light. Among these 9 old monsters there were demon cultivators, devil cultivators, and of course, there were also humans. Each of them was holding a copper mirror magic treasure. Among the 9 of them, there were 3 void fragmentation realm experts and 6 good Yuan Taishu realm experts. Wherever the traveling light passed by, the cultivator cities of the Northern Tree Sea kept quiet out of fear. At a certain moment, the 9 of them suddenly looked shocked. They stopped their traveling light and landed on the peak of a tree mountain. That Liu Bei's trail has disappeared. Could it be that he discovered the vine seeds in his body and destroyed them all? A Guiyuan Taishu realm expert who was dressed in purple robes said with a cold and stern gaze. Without the vine seeds, we can't track his whereabouts. The Vine Sovereign ordered us to hunt him down. Now that we have lost his whereabouts, how are we going to hunt him down? If the Vine Sovereign finds out that we have failed in our task, she will certainly be furious. Another Guiyuan Taishu realm expert who was dressed in black robes said worriedly. This is bad. The life tablets of Vine Armor, Qian Shou and the other 2 Taishu realm experts have all been destroyed. A Guiyuan Taishu realm expert who was dressed like a Taoist priest suddenly patted his storage pouch and took out 4 broken life tablets. As soon as they heard what he said, the other 5 Guiyuan Taishu realm experts were shocked. Even the 3 first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old men were shocked. The 4 Taishu realm old monsters who were chasing after Ning Fan were all dead. Even though the 4 of them were not Guiyuan Taishu realm experts, they could even kill a Guiyuan Taishu realm expert if they joined forces. The 4 of them had suddenly died. If there were no accidents, they were certainly killed by Ning Fan. Ning Fan was just a void inquiry stage cultivator, but he was actually able to kill 4 Taishu realm experts. This was really unimaginable. We have somewhat underestimated this young man. Since he could kill 4 Taishu realm experts on his own, he is definitely not a nobody in the tree world. Liu Bei. This name is too unfamiliar. What exactly is his background? A void fragmentation realm female cultivator who was dressed in pink robes and had long hair that reached her waist fell into deep thought. No matter what his background is, he will certainly die for offending the Vine Sovereign. Now we have lost his whereabouts. However, if we observe carefully, we will realize that he was flying towards the southeast. The reason why he bought the map of the Northern Tree Sea in the vast cold city was probably because he wanted to leave the Northern Tree Sea. Judging from the direction, he is going to the Eastern Tree Sea. We must speed up our pace. We cannot let him enter the Eastern Tree Sea. That place is the Bamboo Sovereign's territory. Once he escapes to the Eastern Tree Sea, it will be difficult for us to kill him. A void fragmentation realm cultivator, who looked like a big-headed child, said with a gloomy expression. With just a few words of analysis, he had already deduced that Ning Fan wanted to escape to the Eastern Tree Sea. The Eastern Tree Sea, huh? Humph. The 4 great tree seas are separated by the realm-breaking light. No one can pass through the realm-breaking light and enter the other tree seas. The only way to enter the other tree seas is through the realm gates between the trees. There are a total of 6 realm gates between the Northern Tree Sea and the Eastern Tree Sea. If this young man wants to enter the Eastern Tree Sea, he will certainly pass through one of the 6 realm gates. Even though we have lost Liu Bei's whereabouts, we just need to split into 6 groups and increase our speed. Then we can hide outside the 6 realm gates in advance and wait for him. When the time comes, we can still kill this young man in one go. The one who spoke was the one with the highest cultivation base among the 3 void fragmentation realm cultivators. He was a tree demon whose entire body was covered with leaves. Every time he breathed, countless trees around him would wither. Naturally, no one had any objections to his suggestion of splitting into 6 groups to chase after Ning Fan. After coming to a decision, the 3 void fragmentation realm cultivators accelerated their speed to the maximum and flew towards the 3 realm gates that were located at the border of the Eastern Tree Sea and the Northern Tree Sea. The other 6 void fragmentation realm cultivators split into 3 groups of 2 and headed towards the other 3 realm gates. All of them sacrificed their cultivation base and used secret techniques to increase their speed to the maximum. Each of them was close to the void fragmentation realm. Previously, when they peeked into the copper mirror, they found out that Ning Fan's speed was extremely fast, and it was infinitely close to the void fragmentation realm. They were not void fragmentation realm cultivators. Thus, they naturally had to pay a certain price in order to catch up to Ning Fan. From their point of view, Ning Fan's combat power was probably close to that of a void fragmentation realm cultivator, since he was able to kill 4 void fragmentation realm cultivators on his own. Even though this young man is strong, he will definitely die if he faces 2 void fragmentation realm cultivators, or 1 void fragmentation realm cultivator alone. As long as they split into 6 groups and hide outside the 6 realm gates before Ning Fan, they would certainly be able to wait for him to walk into their trap. 1 month later, Ning Fan withdrew his traveling light and landed in Gomong country in the North Tree Sea. The Gomong Kingdom was a void-rank cultivation country located at the border between the Eastern Forest Sea and the Northern Forest Sea. Past the Gomong Kingdom was the 3rd realm gate to the Eastern Forest Sea. The Gomong Kingdom was filled with Fusang trees. The ruler of this kingdom was the Fusang tree tribe. The king was a Fusang tree demon with great virtual realm cultivation. The realm gate that led to the Eastern Forest Sea opened once every 3 years. It had only been a year since it had last opened, so it would take another 2 years for the realm gate to open again. At that moment, there were many cultivators from the tree world in Gomong Kingdom, waiting for the next realm gate to open so that they could enter the East Tree Sea. The Gomong Kingdom was adjacent to the East Forest Sea, but it was actually a subordinate power of the East Forest Sea Bamboo Monarch. If low-grade cultivators wanted to enter the Eastern Forest Sea from the Northern Forest Sea, they would have to wait for 3 years. There were also exceptions for high-level cultivators. If cultivators at the Void Refinement Realm and above wished to enter the Eastern Tree Sea, they would be able to enjoy special treatment without having to wait for 3 years. As long as they complete a mission given by the Bamboo Monarch, they would be able to open the Realm Gate at any time and enter the Eastern Forest Sea. Ningfan was sitting in a tavern in a cultivation city in the Gomang Kingdom. When he heard about the Realm Gate, he frowned. Of course, he would not wait for 2 years in the Northern Forest Sea. If that's the case, he could only complete the mission given by the Bamboo Monarch and pass through the Realm Gate directly. Chapter 566. This was a small city at the edge of the Gomang Kingdom. The highest cultivation level in the city was only a peak Yuanying great cultivator. Ningfan sat alone in the tavern leaning against the window. Outside the window was filled with fusang trees. This tree was shaped like a hibiscus, full of fiery red flowers. As the breeze blew, the whole city was filled with the fragrance of plants. Ningfan took a sip of the wine and listened attentively to the chatter in the tavern. A few tables of guests were discussing the new Fire Emperor of the Fire World, while others were discussing the war between the Mountain World and the Earth Immortal World. There was a table of customers talking about the third gate of Realm, the gate of Valley of Tang. There was also another table of customers talking about the Pill Sovereign of the Rain World. It seemed like the news of the Pill Sovereign breaking through to the 7th Revolution had already spread to the Rain World. Naturally, everyone was talking about the demon that was wanted by the entire North Tree Sea. He was a ruthless person that even dared to kill the Vine Sovereign's disciple. I heard that the person who killed the Vine Sovereign's disciple is called Liu Bei. Now the Vine Sovereign has issued a reward. Whoever kills this person will get 10 billion immortal jade and 10 bottles of 6 revolution pills. TSK. 10 billion immortal jade. So much money should be enough to buy an entire high-grade cultivation country, right? It said that Liu Bei has 3 heads, 6 arms and 8 legs. He's a survivor of the Ghost Tree clan. Because his clan was annihilated, he hates the Vine Sovereign. What? Liu Bei was actually someone from the Ghost Tree clan. I heard that he's the young patriarch of the Heather clan. TSK. Your cultivation bases are too low. None of you have seen Liu Bei's arrest warrant. I just left the Luzhou Kingdom half a month ago and entered the Gomang Kingdom. Gomang Kingdom is a force of Bamboo Sovereign. That's why no one put a bounty on Liu Bei's head. However, Luzhou Kingdom is a force of Vine Sovereign. All the cultivation cities in the kingdom are filled with Liu Bei's bounty. I've seen Liu Bei's appearance on the bounty before. This person doesn't have 3 heads and 6 arms as rumored. He doesn't look ferocious and looks like a weak scholar. Let me take a look. That's right, she looks very similar to the one at the opposite table. As soon as that person's voice fell, many of the customers in the restaurant turned to look at Ningfan. At first, they were startled, but then they burst out laughing. Brother Sun, don't joke with us. How could Liu Bei look so weak? Ha 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 ha. Ningfan gradually turned a deaf ear to the clamor in the tavern. After drinking the wine, he suddenly stood up, left 10 immortal jades on the table, and floated away. He had already decided to enter the Eastern Tree Sea and purchase a large number of tree god fruits to increase his reign intent. The Realm Gate opened once every 3 years, and there were still 2 years before it would open again. The break world light that isolated the 4 big sea of trees was too powerful. If a fairy touched the break world light, they would be turned into dust. Ningfan's cultivation base was still low. It was not enough for him to forcefully break through the realm-breaking light with his abilities. He wanted to pass through the Realm Gate, but he was unwilling to wait 2 years in vain. Naturally, he had to head to the Gomang Empire's capital to complete a mission from the Gomang Empire's ruler. Ningfan left the tavern and turned into a ray of light, speeding towards the east. Half a day later, the Gomang royal capital could be seen in the distance. Bai City, the capital of the Gomang Kingdom, was a massive city of trees that spanned tens of thousands of li. It was said that tens of millions of years ago, before Bai City existed, it was a wasteland. In the center of the wasteland, there was a towering fusang tree. This tree nurtured countless fusang tree demons. They built their capital here and established the Fusang country. Outside Bai City, hundreds and thousands of cultivators were coming and going. Ningfan withdrew his traveling light and landed outside Gui City. Then he followed the crowd and entered the city. As soon as he entered the city, he immediately spread out his spirit sense, and vaguely sensed 12 void refinement realm chi in the city. Ning Fan did not carefully investigate the origins of these people. He just wanted to know the number of high-level cultivators in the city, and the location of the palaces. After confirming the location of the palaces in the capital, Ning Fan slowly moved forward. Occasionally he would teleport hundreds of li away. Along the way, he passed by many cultivation shops. This place was adjacent to the Eastern Tree Sea, and there were many tree god fruits for sale. Ning Fan strolled around the city for 1 hour, and spent more than 2 billion immortal jade to buy more than 400 tree god fruits. Currently, his rain intent was already at the 4th grade. According to his estimation, he would need to devour at least 5,000 tree god fruits to attain the 3rd grade. The difficulty of advancing from the 4th grade to the 3rd grade was far greater than advancing from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. The further he advanced, the greater the number of tree god fruits he would need. In order to advance his rain intent to the 1st grade, he had no idea how many tree god fruits he would need. Other than the tree god fruits, Ning Fan also bought many spiritual materials to repair his spiritual puppets. 1 hour later, Ning Fan appeared in front of the palace in the capital. It was a palace that was built by hollowing out a gigantic tree. There were 12 groups of cultivators patrolling outside the palace gate. The leader of each group was at the Divine Transformation Realm. Normally, low-level cultivators were not allowed to approach the palace. Only some Void Refinement Realm old monsters who wanted to pass through the Realm Gate would come to the palace to look for the king and accept the Bamboo Sovereign's mission. When Ning Fan arrived with a smile, a group of cultivators immediately came to greet him. The Divine Transformation Realm leader was a demon cultivator. He spread his spirit sense and scanned Ning Fan. However, he could not sense any trace of Ning Fan's chi. The baleful chi hidden under Ning Fan's smile was like an untouchable devil abyss, causing the demon soul in the Divine Transformation Realm leader's dantian to tremble violently. The Divine Transformation Realm leader's eyes turned solemn. He immediately understood that the smiling white-robed young man in front of him was a dignified Void Refinement Realm old monster. Moreover, he was also a devil lord who had killed countless people. Whether Ning Fan was a devil lord or not was none of his business. The Divine Transformation Realm leader only understood one thing. Since Ning Fan had come to the royal palace, he naturally wanted to look for the king to accept a mission. "I'm Tang Chun, the commander of the Mulberry Guards. Greetings, Senior. May I know if Senior is here to look for the king to accept a mission and pass through the Realm Gate?" The Divine Transformation Realm leader's tone was extremely respectful. However, he did not recognize Ning Fan's appearance at all. He did not know that Ning Fan was the person who was wanted by the Vine Sovereign. "That's right. I want to pass through the Realm Gate of the Valley of Tang. I don't want to wait for 2 years in vain. Therefore, I came to look for the king of the Gomang Kingdom." Ning Fan's smile did not diminish. None of the guards dared to look him in the eye. "If that's the case, Senior, please follow me." The Divine Transformation Realm leader ordered the other guards to continue patrolling while he led Ning Fan into the royal palace. Along the way, the leader enthusiastically explained the general situation of the Realm Gate's mission. There were a total of 6 Realm Gates from the Northern Forest Sea to the Eastern Forest Sea. The Realm Gate of the Gomang Kingdom was the 3rd Realm Gate. It was adjacent to the Valley of Tang, and was called the Realm Gate of the Valley of Tang. The Eastern, Western and Southern Forest Seas were divided by the Tree Sovereign, and it was not easy to enter. However, it was very easy to enter the Northern Forest Sea from the Eastern Forest Sea, because the Northern Forest Sea was unowned. Over the years, many Void Refinement Realm old monsters were unwilling to wait for the Realm Gate to open. Therefore, they came to look for the king of the Gomang Kingdom to accept missions. These missions were all issued by the Bamboo Sovereign. Some of them were difficult while others were easy. The missions given by the king of the Gomang Kingdom were divided into 5 stars according to their difficulty. The Void Glimpse stage mission had 1-star rank, the Void Inquiry stage mission had 2 stars, the Void Pierce stage mission had 3 stars, the Absolute Void stage mission had 4 stars and the Void Fragmentation Realm mission had 5 stars. Completing a mission of any star rank would give one the chance to pass through the Realm Gate, and the reward of the mission would be different. Ning Fan wore a thoughtful look on his face. If he only wanted to pass through the realm gate, he would naturally choose to complete the easiest one-star mission. However, if the reward for the high-difficulty mission was great, he would also consider completing it. Not long after, Ning Fan passed through several palaces and arrived at the main hall. The Divine Transformation Realm leader respectfully excused himself. In the main hall, a tall, bald old man was standing with a smile on his face. The old man was around 9 feet tall. He was as skinny as a match and wore a green robe with wide sleeves. His temples were bulging and his skin was as dry as tree bark. His body emanated the chi of the absolute void stage. He stared at Ning Fan expressionlessly and suddenly spoke. "Are you Liu Bei? The devil cultivator who ordered the Vine Sovereign to capture? You sure have guts. The entire North Tree Sea is obviously searching for you, but you still dare to come to my Gomang Kingdom in broad daylight. Aren't you afraid that I will capture you and hand you over to the Vine Sovereign for her reward?" "Oh, I didn't know that the Bamboo Sovereign's subordinates would listen to the Vine Sovereign's order and help her capture someone." Ning Fan smiled faintly. His expression was calm, as if he was not worried that the old man in front of him would capture him. He was also not surprised that the old man could recognize him. Currently, both the West Tree Sea and the North Tree Sea were trying to capture him. Low-level cultivators might not be able to recognize his face, but the high-level cultivators would probably have a warrant for his arrest. Ning Fan did not think that the old man would capture him, nor did he think that the old man could do so. When the old man saw Ning Fan's calm expression without a hint of change in his expression, his eyes flashed with approval. Obviously, Ning Fan was a cultivator who had gone through many hardships. Suddenly he burst into laughter. "I am Tang Xiong, the king of the Gomang Kingdom. I was just joking with fellow Taoist Liu when I said that I wanted to capture you. I am the Bamboo Sovereign's subordinate. Of course, I won't help the Vine Sovereign capture you. Fellow Taoist Liu, you remain calm in the face of danger. Even though your cultivation base is just at the Void Inquiry stage, your courage is much greater than some Void Pierce stage old monsters. I admire you." Tang Xiong cupped his fists at Ning Fan. Ning Fan returned the gesture with a faint smile. "Greetings, Gomang Kingdom King. The reason why I came to the Gomang Kingdom this time is to accept a mission to pass through the Realm Gate and enter the Eastern Tree Sea." "Accept a mission, huh?" Tang Xiong looked at Ning Fan for a while and suddenly asked. "May I know why fellow Taoist Liu has entered the Eastern Tree Sea?" Since Tang Xiong was guarding the Realm Gate for the Bamboo Sovereign, he naturally wanted to know Ning Fan's intentions. Ning Fan was quite infamous in the North Tree Sea. He was someone who dared to kill the Vine Sovereign's disciple. If he enters the Eastern Tree Sea to kill someone and rob them, Tang Xiong would not stop him from entering, but he would secretly inform the Bamboo Sovereign to send someone to keep an eye on him. If Ning Fan enters the Eastern Tree Sea just to avoid the Vine Sovereign's revenge, it would be an act of desperation. Tang Xiong would then take the opportunity to recommend him to the Bamboo Sovereign and recruit him. If Ning Fan is really forced into a corner by the Vine Sovereign and escapes all the way to the Eastern Tree Sea, he would probably be willing to join the Bamboo Sovereign's side. Tang Xiong carefully studied Ning Fan while his mind was racing. Ning Fan seemed to have seen through Tang Xiong's thoughts. He shook his head and chuckled. "Don't worry, Gomang Kingdom King. I didn't enter the Eastern Tree Sea to cause trouble. If people don't offend me, I will certainly not kill them. As for the reason why I entered the Eastern Tree Sea, it's not to escape. I just heard that the Eastern Tree Sea produces tree god fruits and I need them." Tree god fruits. Tang Xiong did not expect Ning Fan to enter the Eastern Tree Sea just to purchase tree god fruits. He recalled the information that the secret guards in the city sent him. Ning Fan had indeed purchased a large number of tree god fruits after entering Bai City. Therefore, he somewhat believed Ning Fan's motive for entering the Eastern Tree Sea. After hearing Ning Fan's confession of, "I won't offend anyone if they don't offend me," Tang Xiong nodded his head slightly. He could see that Ning Fan's eyes were calm when he said that. It did not seem like a lie. The path of cultivation was filled with countless battles and killings. No one could guarantee that they would not kill anyone in the Eastern Tree Sea. As long as Ning Fan did not kill indiscriminately, It would be enough for him to enter the Eastern Tree Sea. After hearing that Ning Fan did not enter the Eastern Tree Sea to avoid the Vine Sovereign, Tang Xiong could not help but admire Ning Fan's courage. If ordinary cultivators offend the Vine Sovereign, they would probably be scared to death. However, Ning Fan still wore a calm expression. This calmness came from the bottom of his heart. Because he was confident, he was fearless. Tang Xiong could not imagine how a Void Inquiry Stage Junior could be so confident and not be afraid of the Vine Sovereign's pursuit. He inwardly guessed that Ning Fan might not be as simple as he seemed. Perhaps he should not treat him as a Void Inquiry Stage cultivator. Tang Xiong chuckled. He patted his storage pouch and took out hundreds of jade slips with a wave of his hand. He divided them into 5 piles and placed them on the green jade table. Then he explained to Ning Fan. Fellow Taoist, Lu naturally has no problem if you want to enter the Eastern Tree Sea to purchase tree god fruits. However, there are still 2 whole years before the next opening of the Realm Gate. If fellow Taoist wishes to pass through the Realm Gate in advance, you have to complete a mission according to the rules. These are all missions of the Realm Gate. From easy to difficult, they are divided into 5 stars. Fellow Taoist can choose 1 mission to complete. With fellow Taoist's Void Inquiry Stage cultivation base, you will only need a few days to complete a 1-star mission. A few days, huh? Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and scanned through the 5 piles of jade slips on the green jade table. From left to right, the difficulty of the missions were from low to high. The first pile of jade slips recorded all 1-star missions such as entering the Tang Valley to kill 100 Divine Transformation Realm Tree Devils, and concocting a low-grade 6th Revolution pill. To Ning Fan, a 1-star mission was extremely easy to complete. If there were no accidents, he was prepared to accept a mission to kill a tree devil. With his abilities, killing 100 Divine Transformation Realm Tree Devils would be a piece of cake, and it would not take too much time. His eyes scanned through the 2- and 3-star missions. These missions were also not that difficult. Even if they were 4-star missions, he was confident in completing them. For example, one of the 4-star missions required him to reinforce the Gomong Kingdom's grand defensive formation, which was at the peak Mortal Void Realm. With Ning Fan's cultivation base in the Tao of Formations, it was not difficult to complete this mission. However, it would take up a lot of time. Ning Fan's eyes scanned through the jade slips of the 5-star missions. There were only 3 of them in total. The first 5-star mission was to kill a 1st Heavenly Layer Void Fragmentation Realm Rogue Cultivator in the North Tree Sea. The reward of the mission was 50 billion Immortal Jade. There were 7 to 8 Void Fragmentation Realm experts in the North Tree Sea. The jade slips did not specify who the target was. It only explained that the person had offended the Bamboo Sovereign in the past. After scanning through the mission, Ning Fan shook his head. The risk of killing a Void Fragmentation Realm expert was too great. He would not casually accept such a mission. The second 5-star mission was to concoct a 7th Revolution pill. Ning Fan shook his head again. He did not have the 7th Revolution pill refinement realm to complete such a mission. The third 5-star mission was the latest mission. It required him to enter the Tang Valley of Gomong Kingdom and kill 2 newly born tree kings among the tree devils. This mission was slightly easier compared to the previous 2 missions. The 2 tree kings that he needed to kill were just Guiyuan Taishu realm experts. As for this mission, there was no limit to the number of people who could accept it. The jade slips indicated that 9 people had already accepted this mission, and they were waiting for the 10th Void Refinement Realm expert to accept the mission. Then, they would head to the Tang Valley together to kill the tree kings. If Ning Fan accepts the mission, he would be the 10th person. Ning Fan gently shook his head. He could fight Guiyuan Taishu with his full strength, but he did not have the confidence to kill him. There was more or less some risk in fighting 2 tree kings. Ning Fan was not willing to take the risk easily. Based on his personality, he would directly accept a 1-star mission and complete it. There was no need for him to get into more trouble. However, when his eyes fell upon the reward of the mission, his eyes suddenly turned cold. Mission reward. A puppet refined from the corpse of the Nether Rakshasa clan. Grade, Void Glimpse Stage Puppet. Additionally, the reward is 2 billion Immortal Jade. May I ask the king what the corpse puppet of the Nether Rakshasa clan is? Ning Fan's eyes began to fill with coldness. Chapter 567. May I ask the monarch, what is the corpse puppet of the underworld Luo clan? A ray of cold light flashed across Ning Fan's eyes. He did not expect that the corpses of the members of the Ming Luo tree clan would be refined into spiritual puppets and given out as a reward for a mission. Before he came to the tree world, he promised the Ming Luo tree spirit that he would come to the tree world to look for the Ming Luo tree clan and help them when necessary. Today, Ning Fan had yet to start searching for the Ming Luo tree clan, but he had already seen this kind of mission reward. His heart could not help but sink. Could it be that the Nethersif tree clan was in the eastern forest sea? Could it be that the Nethersif tree clan had declined to the point that they were bullied and humiliated as they pleased, capturing their clansmen to be refined into puppets as rewards for missions? Who was the one who used the underworld tree clan's clansmen to refine the puppet? Was it the Bamboo Emperor? If that is really the case, Ning Fan might have to stand on the side of the Min Luo tree clan and become enemies with the Bamboo Sovereign. After all, from a moral point of view, the underworld sifting tree spirit was protecting the state of Yu. He had the responsibility to protect the underworld sifting clan on behalf of the underworld sifting tree spirit. The moment Ning Fan's eyes flashed, even Tang Xiong, who had an absolute void stage cultivation base, felt a chill in his heart. His face turned pale with fright. At first, Tang Xiong thought that Ning Fan was just an ordinary void inquiry stage expert. Now, however, he felt an extreme sense of danger from Ning Fan's eyes. That gaze contained a shocking killing intent. That kind of powerful killing intent was unimaginably terrifying. Tang Xiong felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness after being glared at by Ning Fan. Layers of illusions appeared in front of his eyes. They were the scenes of seas of blood that Ning Fan had gone through. In those seas of blood, countless people had died. Countless Void Refinement Realm experts had died. There were even Void Fragmentation Realm experts who died in Ning Fan's hands. Could it be that this young man has killed Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators before? But how was that possible? No matter how heaven-defying a Void Inquiry stage cultivator's abilities are, it is impossible for him to kill a Void Fragmentation Realm expert. But this baleful chi is absolutely not fake. This old man has seen countless people in his life and seen many devils, but I have never seen a devil with such a terrifying baleful chi. Just one look is enough to throw this old man's mind into chaos. All of a sudden, Tang Xiong had an illusion. Even though Ning Fan was a Void Inquiry stage cultivator, killing him was as easy as taking something out of his pocket. Tang Xiong was extremely nervous. Only now did he realize how dangerous Ning Fan was. That gaze was something that even Yun Jinghong could not endure, so how could Tang Xiong endure it? Tang Xiong forced himself to calm down. He knew that Ning Fan's eyes suddenly turned cold because he was angry. He carefully considered Ning Fan's question and thought about the reason behind Ning Fan's anger. Immediately, he realized that the reason was because the Bamboo Sovereign took the Ming Luo puppets as the reward of the 5 stars mission. Could it be that Liu Bei has some sort of relationship with the Underworld Tree clan? Or is he an Underworld Tree demon? Was that why he was so angry when he saw his clansmen being refined into puppets? Yes, that must be it. This man's baleful chi is terrifying. He has definitely killed Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators before. No wonder he dared to offend the Vine Sovereign. He has always been fearless. I'm definitely not a match for him. As for the Underworld sifting puppet's origin, this old man must clearly explain it to him so that he doesn't misunderstand. If he gets angry and kills this old man by mistake, this old man's death would be too unjust. Tang Xiong's thoughts raced. He laughed dryly and explained with an apologetic smile. Fellow Taoist, please calm down. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand. These nethernet puppets were given to me by the Bamboo Emperor, and it was also this old man's decision to take them out as a reward for the mission. However, these nethernet puppets weren't refined by the Bamboo Emperor. I don't have any malicious intent towards the Underworld Tree clan. When Ning Fan heard that the one who refined the puppets wasn't the Bamboo Emperor, The cold light in his eyes lessened slightly. When Tang Xiong saw Ning Fan's expression soften, he inwardly thought that he had guessed correctly. Ning Fan was most likely a underworld tree demon. That was why he got angry when he saw the nether net puppets. As he thought of this, Tang Xiong asked, "May I ask if fellow Taoist Liu is a survivor of the underworld tree clan 10,000 years ago?" Tang Xiong could not see through Ning Fan's background and could not identify his demon blood. That was why he asked, "Survivor?" Ning Fan did not answer Tang Xiong's question. Instead, he was moved by the word survivor. Judging from Tang Xiong's tone, the underworld tree clan seemed to have suffered some kind of great disaster 10,000 years ago. So, all the members of the underworld tree clan who are still alive are all survivors. It seems like fellow Taoist doesn't know about the great disaster that the underworld tree clan faced. Tang Xiong was inwardly surprised. Many cultivators in the tree world had heard about the great disaster that the underworld tree clan faced. It was unexpected that Ning Fan actually knew nothing about it. Tang Xiong did not delve into the reason why Ning Fan did not know about the great disaster that happened to the underworld tree clan. He just cleared his throat and revealed a reminiscing expression. 10,000 years ago, a great disaster happened in the tree world. A void fragmentation realm puppet master from the western tree sea snuck into the eastern, southern and northern tree seas and massacred more than 30 members of the tree clan. Then he used the corpses of countless members of the tree clan to refine his puppets. The underworld tree clan was located in the eastern tree sea, and it was one of the members that was massacred by that person. Rumor has it that the underworld tree clan once had a tree sovereign. It was one of the top forces in the tree world. However, ever since the disappearance of a certain tree sovereign, this clan gradually declined and no void fragmentation realm experts were born anymore. Until 10,000 years ago, the underworld tree clan still had 10 void refinement realm experts to protect it. It was still one of the first-rate forces in the tree world. However, in that great disaster, all 10 void refinement realm experts of the underworld tree clan perished. Almost all of the members of the clan were wiped out. Today, there are still survivors of the underworld tree clan. They are still living peacefully in a corner of the eastern tree sea. However, it is said that the clan no longer has any void refinement realm experts to protect it. Even the divine transformation realm experts are few and far between. The clan has already declined to become a second-rate force. These 10 void glimpse stage underworld puppet masters were refined by that void fragmentation realm puppet master in the past. After he finished refining them, he wanted to bring them out of the eastern tree sea. However, he was stopped by the bamboo sovereign who intercepted this batch of puppets. However, the bamboo sovereign did not return these puppets to the underworld tree clan. Instead, he kept them by his side. After listening to Tang Xiong's explanation, the coldness in Ning Fan's eyes gradually faded away. From the bamboo sovereign's point of view, there was nothing wrong with taking the 10 underworld Luo puppets as the reward for the mission. The bamboo sovereign had snatched the puppets from that void fragmentation realm puppet master. Thus, these puppets naturally belonged to him. Since the underworld Luo tree clan had declined, the bamboo sovereign naturally would not return the puppets to them. There was no need for him to express his goodwill to a declining second-rate force. In this matter, the bamboo sovereign did not make any major mistakes. The one who committed a major mistake to the underworld Luo tree clan should be that void fragmentation realm puppet master. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Since underworld Luo tree spirit helped him protect Yu country, he had the responsibility to protect the underworld Luo tree clan. No matter what, he must obtain all the underworld Luo puppets that were the reward for the mission, and send them back to the underworld Luo tree clan for burial. All of them were the clansmen of underworld Luo tree spirit. If he knew that his disappearance had led to the decline of the underworld Luo tree clan, and that they were slaughtered and refined into puppets, he would certainly be filled with regret. The reason why Ning Fan wanted to bring the corpses of the members of the underworld Luo tree clan back to their homeland was just to return the favor to underworld Luo tree spirit. The ones who slaughtered the members of the underworld Luo tree clan aren't the forces of the eastern tree sea. You can't blame the eastern tree sea for this matter. Tang Xiong advised. who is the Void Fragmentation Realm puppet master who massacred the Ming Luo clan? Ning Fan suddenly asked. That person is one of the 3 great Void Fragmentation Realm experts under the command of the Vine Sovereign. His name is Wan Changkong. Even though he is just a cultivator at the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, his puppetry techniques are extremely shocking. In his entire life, he has created more than 1,000 Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets. Most of them are given to the Vine Sovereign, while he keeps 200 Void Inquiry Stage spiritual puppets for himself. When he fights against others, he only needs to summon these 200 Void Inquiry Stage spiritual puppets, and even a cultivator at the second heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm would have to retreat. This person has a cruel nature. In order to refine his spiritual puppets, he can kill millions of people without batting an eye. Is it Wan Changkong? Ning Fan memorized the name. With a wave of his palm, the jade slip containing the mission of killing the Tree King fell into his hand. Then he said to Tang Xiong, I will accept this mission, but I wish to take on the entire mission alone. He did not need anyone else's help to kill the 2 Tree Kings. As for the underworld sifting puppets, they're all mine. Ning Fan did not want to accept this 5 stars mission at first, but now he decided to accept it. He had no other purpose other than to bury the members of the underworld sifting tree spirit. Of course, Tang Xiong understood Ning Fan's motive for accepting this mission. After witnessing Ning Fan's terrifying baleful qi, he did not doubt that Ning Fan had the strength to kill the 2 Tree Kings. Even though the 2 Tree Kings were at the origin returning Great Void stage, Ning Fan had even killed a Void Fragmentation Realm being before. 9 people had already accepted this mission and Ning Fan was the 10th. According to the rules, Ning Fan would be the last to accept the mission. He could not kick out the other 9 people and complete the mission alone to take all the rewards. In Tang Xiong's heart, Ning Fan was much more important than the other 9 Void Refinement Realm beings who accepted the mission. He dared to offend the other 9 people, but he absolutely did not dare to offend Ning Fan. Since fellow Taoist has spoken, I won't say anything else. I will leave this mission to fellow Taoist alone. As for the other 9 Void Refinement Realm fellow Taoists, I will discuss with them and ask them to give up on the mission. Even if they don't do anything, they will still be allowed to pass through the realm gate. It can be considered as an exception. Just as Tang Xiong's voice fell, 7 to 8 sneers suddenly resounded from outside the palace gate. Humph! We are the ones who accepted the mission first. Why should we give up on the mission and let this person monopolize the reward of 10 Ming Luo puppets? Those are the puppets refined by Master Wan Changkong. They contain his secret puppet technique. All of us are puppet masters. The reason why we accepted this mission is not to pass through the realm gate, but for the puppets. We can't hand over these puppets to you alone. A moment later, 9 Void Refinement Realm cultivators flashed and entered the main hall. There were both men and women among them. All of them were Void Refinement Realm cultivators. One of them was a Void Glimpse Stage cultivator. There was no Void Inquiry Stage cultivator, 4 Void Pierce Stage cultivators and 4 Absolute Void Stage cultivators. Among the 4 Absolute Void Stage cultivators, there was no Origin Returning Great Void Stage cultivator. The strongest among the 4 Absolute Void Stage cultivators was an old man with white eyes. His pupils did not have a trace of black color. He said to Ning Fan with a disdainful smile, All of us have already accepted the mission to kill the Tree Kings. You are just a Void Inquiry Stage junior. How dare you try to monopolize the mission? How arrogant of you. Do you think you can fight against 2 Tree Kings alone? Or do you think you can defeat us 9 Void Refinement Realm puppet masters with your strength alone? Ning Fan's eyes swept across them indifferently. Most of the 9 Void Refinement Realm cultivators in front of him were puppet masters. Their bodies had a strong puppet chi. The reason why these people were fighting for this mission was self-evident. They wanted those Ming Luo puppets. It was not because the Ming Luo puppets with Void Glimpse Stage cultivation bases were powerful, but because they were refined by a Void Fragmentation Realm puppet master. Most of these people were hoping to improve their puppet techniques by comprehending these Ming Luo puppets. The only thing that puzzled Ning Fan was that there was actually a Void Glimpse Stage cultivator among the 9 of them. It was a young lady in green robes. Her cultivation base was just at the Void Glimpse stage, but she was also participating in this mission. How could a Void Glimpse stage cultivator participate in the mission to kill a Tree King of the Guyuan Taishu stage? Liu Bei. Don't even think about monopolizing this mission. The Ming Luo puppets are mine. The white-eyed old man sneered. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.